an important meeting coming up Thursday. The big guys are coming into town, so I need you in charge of lunch, and we've got to look good.
Luckily for Janet, she knows a place, and she knows her boss will be impressed.
Honey Baked Ham can cater your next event. Delicious and freshly sliced deli trays, box lunches with sandwich, chips, and dessert. Or try our fresh salad boxes and the perfect touch with a meat and cheese tray. Honey Baked Ham Company.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we got to go fast now.
The Seattle Mariners crushed the Houston Astros last night, 10-2 to hand the Stros their fourth straight loss. Tetsuya Imai was a victim of the long ball last night, giving up a 2-run homer and a grand slam through only 4 innings of work. The Astros and the Mariners will go again today for Game 3 in Houston, and it'll be Bryce Miller versus Lance McCullers Jr. on the mound. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m., and you can listen to it on ESPN, 1037 Lafayette, and 1041 Lake Charles. Around the AL West, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Los Angeles Angels 3-2. The Texas Rangers beat the Diamondbacks 7-4, and the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Athletics 6-4. With those results, the Athletics still sit in first place, with now the Mariners only 1 game behind in second, and Houston still 6 games back in last place. Last night in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs dismantled the Minnesota Timberwolves 126-97 to take a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference semifinals. Victor Wembanyama had a huge night, putting up 27 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now the series will head back to Minnesota on Friday night in an elimination game for the Timberwolves. Then tonight in the Motor City, the Detroit Pistons will host the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The series is all tied up at 2 apiece. Tip-off between Cleveland and Detroit is at 7 p.m. tonight from the Little Caesars Arena. And it was announced yesterday that College Game Day will be heading to Baton Rouge for LSU's season opener against the Clemson Tigers. Kickoff will be on September 5th at 6:30 p.m. in Death Valley. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dynamic duos are nothing new to Louisiana sports fans. Breeze and Colston, Burrow and Chase. And here in Acadiana, we have our very own dynamic duo.
You're beautiful.
It's the big, bald, bearded, and beautiful one, Raymond Parch III.
I'm sexy and I know it.
And the man with the best head of hair in sports talk radio in Louisiana and Mississippi, James Mesh. Here is RP3 and Mesh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Welcome into a Wednesday edition of RP3 and Mesh as we broadcast live from inside the Beal and Abear studios here in Upper Lafayette. Beal and Abear, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. I'm the big, bald, beautiful one, Raymond Parch III, better known as RP3, or as Mr. Bobby calls me, 2 out of 3. And I'm joined, as always, by the producer extraordinaire, the LAB award winner, and the man with the best head of hair and the best trash stash in sports media in the states of Louisiana and Mississippi. And I'm going to go even further, a man who will be a Yogurt U champion within the next 365 days, James freaking Mesh. Good day, sir.
Good day, Raymond.
How about that, man? You know what? I'm your hype guy.
Yeah.
I'm your hype man. Just walk around, just making you be awesome, making you sound awesome. It's what I do. It's what I'm here for.
I'm never going to deny it.
There it is,
I'll take more of it.
Oh, we getting closer and closer to schedule release dropping. We'll get to that here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But today is Wednesday, and we have a full show today, which means we have not 1, not 2, but 3 guests lined up for you today. It's our campus check-in day. We're going to talk all things LSU with Hunt Palmer of LouisianaSports.net at 11:30. At 12 o'clock, we're going to talk all things of the Louisiana region. K. Jones with Jamarcus Fitzpatrick of KATC. And then at 12:30, we'll talk all things McNeese with our friend from the Lake Charles American Press, the great one, Jim Gazzolo. So 3 tremendous guests for you to give you the latest insights and updates about Tigers, Cajuns, and Cowboys. And that's all coming up today. We also have our poll question of the day, which we will be unveiling here in about 20 minutes or so. Plus, we're going to talk a little NBA playoffs. We'll do that in hour number 2. But right now, let's stop wasting time. Let's go ahead and get started. It's time for today's specials.
The fellas can't help with your lunch plans, but they can serve up the top stories of the day in bite-sized pieces. Time to order up today's specials here on RP3 and Mesh, presented by Southwest Volkswagen, located at 6184 Johnston Street. Order up.
The official NFL full season schedule will be unveiled tomorrow evening because it has to be a primetime affair.
Yeah, it's going to be at 7 o'clock our time.
I'm old enough to remember when we found out what the schedule was because it was printed on the agate page in the newspaper. But I digress. Today, it will be finalized, and tonight it will be finalized about the entire international slate. Because now we have to have half a dozen games or so that have to be played overseas. You know my stance on this. You know how much I think it's gross. I also think it's stupid, and I don't think it's fair to the fan bases or the teams that have to take part in this. And I've ranted about the international games for years now. Roger Goodell, surprising to me, has not heard my complaints and has not changed his mind on this. Stunning development, I know.
What a shame.
What a shame. Now, we do know about a Saints game because we did know that the Saints were going to be playing in Paris. And for the longest time, it appeared that it was going to be
the Cleveland Browns.
Saints versus the old Cleveland Browns, because we really want to stick it to the Frenchies and make them watch the Cleveland Browns play professional football. But what happened, we heard about this yesterday. It was confirmed this morning by the actual New Orleans Saints themselves that they will be playing in France on Sunday, October the 25th. Go ahead and make sure to set your alarms, 8:30 in the morning Central Time. Love having NFL games going on during church service. Big fan of that. That's sarcasm, by the way. But they're not playing the Browns. Instead, they are going to be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. So this is a far more marquee game that's going to be played. You're sending a better franchise over there for the people in France to watch. I still have huge question marks. Is it going to be Mason Rudolph or is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? That's going to be the quarterback in Pittsburgh. I don't think they know. But it's a far better matchup for television purposes and for the fans in Paris. It's probably not as good of a matchup for the Saints because we talk about this all the time. We love to bag on Mike McCarthy, and I just keep reminding you all of this. If you did a blind resume check between Mike McCarthy and Sean Payton, they're nearly identical. Nearly identical. Won Super Bowl championship, didn't even get to another Super Bowl, had a generational first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, record-setting quarterback, and they both have similar, almost identical regular season records, division championships, playoff appearances, playoff victories. They're almost a carbon copy of each other. One of them is
considered a genius,
smart aleck,
and the other one
is considered as a fat loser.
Yeah,
but they're almost identical. Their coaching careers, which is absolutely insane. So now we know though that Saints v. Steelers. Mm-hmm. Where do we stand now on the international games? We know that Australia is going to be the first game up. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a divisional game, gross, in week 1. between the Rams and the 49ers. We know that is booked. We know both teams for that. That's going to be the Wednesday night game, correct? Isn't that going to be the actual season opener? Is going to be on a Wednesday because they're playing in Australia. Technically, it'll be Thursday in Australia. It'll be Wednesday here.
Yes. It will be no, technically it'll be a Thursday. September 10th is a Thursday.
But is it going to be a Thursday for them is what I'm saying?
No, it'll be a Friday in Australia.
Okay, so it's going to be Friday in Australia. So there will be, but aren't we playing on Wednesday? Isn't the opener going to be on Wednesday?
Not from what I've seen.
Okay. Well, we'll find out for sure because I could have sworn that we are playing on a Wednesday to open up the season. We're going to be playing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
I think there was rumors of a Wednesday game, but I have not seen anything just yet. But there are 9 total international games.
Okay, so what do we know about those? Now, we'll find out tonight for sure. They will be finalized.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we stand on the international games? What do we know as of right now? What's the most up-to-date information that we can provide our devoted and even-keeled listeners?
So we'll go in chronological order.
I love that.
Melbourne, Australia, week 1 with the Rams versus the 49ers. Like we just said, September 11th is a Friday. That'll be for the Australia side of things, but for us here in the States, it'll be on September 10th.
Okay.
We'll see the next one in Rio in week 3 when the Ravens and the Cowboys play on September 27th.
Okay.
After that, it's going to be weeks 4, 5, and 6 will be back-to-back-to-back London games, the Classic, where it all started. It'll first start off in week 4 on October 4th when it'll be the Indianapolis Colts taking on your Washington Commanders.
Shout out to that.
You're welcome. After that, the Jags will be back-to-back weekends.
Of course they will.
Their 2 opponents will be the Eagles in week 5 on October 11th, and then October 18th will be against the Houston Texans, so a divisional matchup.
Nothing like putting divisional games that help determine playoffs by having those games played in London.
You're welcome.
There we go.
Week 7 will be that matchup of Saints versus Steelers over there in Paris.
Oh, look at you with the little accent.
Well, then wait 2 weeks until we get the next one when they go to Madrid. We're really broadening our horizons here.
Yes, we are.
In Madrid, Spain, it'll be Bengals, so our Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase and company, taking on Bijan Robinson and the Dirty Birds and the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
After that, in week 10, it'll be in Munich, Germany. The Germans.
Yeah, the land of my people.
Yes, there you go. Of bratwurst
and beer.
Sauerkraut. New England Patriots and Detroit Lions, November 15th in week 10 for that one. And then the last one will be pretty close. It'll be in Mexico City. It'll be the Vikings and the 49ers for a week 11 matchup. All of those except Ravens Cowboys in week 3 will be at 8:30 or so in the morning for us. The Cowboys one will be at about 3:30.
Awesome. Outstanding. I've told you this before. And we already know that the opening week, right? We're going to get Cowboys versus Giants. That's already been confirmed.
Yeah.
Right. That's the opening Sunday night football game, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the schedule, you have all the leaks. It's going to be official. It looks like now is that officially done? The international slate, is that all done? Because I anticipated that the NFL would have some sort of primetime extravaganza for this, but you're saying that that's all now confirmed. Those are the matchups. Those are the games that we have for the international slate.
Yep. This comes from the NFL X account. All 9 international games in 2026, and
there we go.
I had read them all.
Well, since all the games have to be played 8:30 in the morning anyway, why not go ahead and release it in the morning? So that makes sense.
I'm sorry. So with the one in Melbourne, that'll be at 7:35 on Thursday, September 10th, our time.
Okay.
7:35 in the morning. It'll still be 3:30 in Rio for Sunday, September 27th with the Ravens and the Cowboys.
You said it's going to be 7:35 in the morning on that Thursday?
Yeah, with 49ers Rams. Yeah, it says 8:35. Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, that's got to be 7:30 at
I'm
night.
sorry,
because
it
it's
was
in Melbourne time.
I got thrown off. It'll be 7:35 Eastern Central Time in Melbourne, 3:30 Central in Rio, 8:30 a.m., 8:30 a.m. for those 3 London games. For the Saints, it'll be also 8:30 a.m. in Paris, 8:30 in Madrid for Falcons Bengals, 8:30 in Munich for Lions Patriots, and then it'll be 7:15 Eastern Time in Mexico City.
Phenomenal.
All of those are on Sundays except for the Thursday game in Melbourne.
There we go. It's amazing. Truly remarkable.
That is the international schedule.
So we have Australia.
We
have Brazil. We have London. We have Paris. We have Munich.
Mm-hmm.
We have Madrid.
Mm-hmm. And Mexico City.
There
you go.
By the way,
when are they going to go to like Japan?
It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's coming in the next 2 years.
This is going to be the new norm now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's only expanded over the last couple of years because remember, going back almost 2 decades now, it used to be like you had the one London game and that was it. And it was like that for a while, and then until you got to like the mid 2010s, and all of a sudden you got like 2 or 3 London games
because they want to put a Super Bowl overseas.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's all about. This is less to do with putting a team, a franchise over there. This is more about building up enough interest to have a Super Bowl overseas. America's game and put it overseas. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. Because Goodell believes the NFL is a global brand, which it is. He believes it's on the same level as the World Cup. And he's going to take the Super Bowl and he's going to put it overseas. So gear up and get ready for having to watch the Super Bowl at 8:30 in the morning.
Some other
gross
confirmed 2026 NFL games that aren't necessarily international. We brought up the Cowboys-Giants on Sunday Night Football for Week 1, but the Monday night matchup for Week 1 as well is going to be Broncos at Chiefs. Bills-Lions will be that Thursday night matchup for Week 2. We'll have on Thanksgiving one of the matchups. Of course, we always know the Cowboys have to be in like that 3:30 spot. They'll actually have a divisional matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles.
There we go. Can't wait. Are we hopeful that the NFL will make sure that these teams, with the exception of the Jaguars, who are just going to stay in London for back-to-back weeks, are they at least going to accommodate them and not have these teams that have to go, let's say, for the Saints' purposes, they have to go play the Steelers. Are you at least going to give them a bye week the week after? Like, shouldn't it be that simple? If you have to go overseas, the next week you get the bye week.
I mean, that would be nice.
But I know they're not going to do that. They're gonna force the Saints or other teams or my Commanders or whoever your favorite team is. They're going to say, hey, you just played overseas. You just had to fly across half the globe. We're going to have you come back and have to play a Thursday night football game across the country too. You're welcome. I mean, it should be as easy as that. It should be, hey, we're expanding our international footprint. We're going to have international games, 7 of them a year, probably going to be more. But guys, if we give you an international game, not to worry, your bye week will come right after that. That should be the agreement. And if they did that, the NFL teams would be like, okay, great. We'll go to Madrid, we'll go to Mexico, we'll go to London, we'll go to Munich, we'll go to Australia, we'll go to Japan, we'll go to Vietnam. I don't care. We'll go to Russia. Don't care. As long as we get the bye week the week after to recover from all the travel, I don't think you would see any complaints from the NFL coaches, the training staff, and the players? Could it just be that simple? If you're going to keep doing all these international games, just make the bye week be right afterwards. But do you want to bet me that that's not what we're going to see when the full schedule is released tomorrow?
Oh, it's not going to be that.
There it is.
I mean, there's no point in betting. Because we've seen it before where teams is just like, all right, just come back next week, like with the, what was it, Patriots Bucks, like 2 years ago, and then very next week, Bucks had to go back to Tampa and play a game. It's like, that's just what happens. Now, I think the fact that they have just so much accessibility to travel, it's, as soon as the game ends, go back to the States, kind of go back.
But jet lag is travel.
Yeah, I know it is.
And flight and air travel does wear on you. So you have to fly over there, and then you have to fly back.
I'm not saying that what they're doing is correct. I'm just trying to make sense.
Oh, you can't make sense of it because it's greed.
Well, maybe not make sense. Maybe not make sense. I'm trying to figure out their reasoning without them telling us. That's what I'm trying to do.
We'll see. We'll see. Official schedule will be leaked tomorrow, probably during our show for the Saints. There's a couple of people that we trust that are going to have the correct information. But then we'll get the official Dog and Pony show at night, tomorrow night. Got to take a time out. When we come back, we'll unveil our poll question of the day right here on ESPN, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
Today's specials here on RP3 and Mesh, presented by Southwest Volkswagen, located at 6184 Johnston Street.
Southwest Volkswagen, it's where car buying is made easy. Upfront everyday pricing and transparency from start to finish. Massive inventory of both new and used cars. And when I'm saying used cars, I mean World Auto certified pre-owned cars and SUVs. Southwest Volkswagen has the great selection that you and your family have been looking for. They're proud to be Acadiana's only Volkswagen dealership, and they're just a short drive from Lake Charles as well. Just hop on I-10, make your way over. You will not regret it. Once again, buying your next car feels simple at Southwest Volkswagen right here in Lafayette. Go visit them today at 6184 Johnston Street right here in Lafayette.
From Tiger Stadium to the Texas state line, ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is your home for live and local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana. We're your official home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles also tackles the latest involving the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, McNeese Cowboys, and New Orleans Saints. So keep it locked right here. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Looking for your next firearm? Come visit Louisiana Gun Shop in Broussard. We've got financing options, 12 months same as cash, plus layaways up to 90 days. With a wide selection of new and used guns, we've got something for every budget, big or small. Have an old gun collecting dust? Trade it in or turn it into cash. Need parts? We've got the largest selection of AR-15 components in the area, from springs to grips and buttstocks. Explore our ever-changing used inventory online at LouisianaGunShop.com. Louisiana Gun Shop, your one-stop shop for firearms and more.
It's May, and spring is finally here. A time of growth, renewal, and hope. And what better time to kick off Mental Health Awareness Month? Johnwell Therapeutic Services are proud to highlight May as National Mental Health Month. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. Reach out to a friend, family member, or professional if you need support. It's okay to take things one step at a time. You're not alone. Johnwell Therapeutic Services, proud supporters of National Mental Health Month.
This is your Chiropractic Expert Minute, brought to you by Dr. Quentin Briscoe, chiropractic physician.
Hello, I'm Dr. Quentin Briscoe. You may have heard me for Chiropractic Awareness Month. Today I want to share a quick tip to keep your spine and your whole body healthy. Everyday habits like sitting too long, poor posture, or even sleeping the wrong way can cause misalignments that lead to pain, stiffness, or fatigue. Chiropractic care doesn't just treat pain, it helps your body function at its best naturally. A chiropractic adjustment can improve mobility, reduce tension, and even boost overall wellness. Combine that with proper stretching, posture awareness, and a healthy lifestyle, and you're giving your body the support it needs to thrive. We are in network with the VA Community Care Network, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Aetna.
To schedule an appointment with Briscoe Chiropractic, visit drqmb.com or call 337-534-0091. That's drqmb.com or 337-534-0091. Because your spine deserves expert care.
May is National Military Appreciation Month, and at Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service in Karen Crow, we're proud to thank the men and women who serve and protect our country every day. And when it comes to protecting your lawn, choose Skag zero-turn mowers. Skag mowers are tough, built to last, and trusted by professionals. To show our appreciation, Nolan's is offering a special 15% discount for all active military in May. Stop by Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service in Karen Crow and check out the full lineup of Skag mowers. Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service, and thank you to all our military members.
One enjoys eating hot dogs and watching baseball. The other loves eating sushi and playing yogurt U-card games. Not sure exactly what that is, but good for him, I guess. Anyway, back to more RP3 and Mesh.
Getting away from the NFL schedule talk, we'll move over to baseball, since that has to do with our poll question of the day. And we had asked you on Facebook and on X, man, what's worse for you? And what's more frustrating to watch offensively in a baseball game? Is it seeing a player swing at ball 4? Maybe it's hitting into a double play.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Oh, especially to the shortstop. It's just the classic.
Don't love it, Cat. Not a big fan.
Maybe striking out and not even swinging the bat, Cat. You're just looking, and you're like, oh, guess I'm out. Or maybe it's being caught stealing with / a pickoff.
Okay, all of those options are dreadful and infuriate me to no end. But there's one that makes me more mad than the rest.
Okay, which one's that one?
Nothing makes me more angry as a baseball fan when I see a guy in the batter's box and he's got his stick in his hand and he doesn't swing it and he strikes out looking.
Get her off your shoulder.
Like, at least make the effort to make contact. I can accept the fact that you did not have the proper hand-eye coordination and bat speed to make contact to put the ball in play to help drive in a run.
Okay.
I can accept that. Because, by the way, failing 2/3 of the time is considered a Hall of Fame career in Major League Baseball, because that's what a 300 hitter is. You're failing 2/3 of the time. Okay? So I can accept that. I can marginally deal with the fact that you get picked off. It shouldn't happen. You should be paying attention. You should know how many steps you need to be taking off said base. And you shouldn't be caught in a rundown because you weren't paying attention. But it happens. Baseball happens. Okay? Weird things happen in baseball. Hitting into a double play, at least you're making contact. I hate it. Let me be clear. I hate it. I despise it. Especially like when you just hit it right to the guy. And I'm like, really? What are we doing here?
Shortstop didn't even have to move.
He does it when the shortstop doesn't even get out of his stance. That really infuriates me. So all these things make RP3 upsetty spaghetti.
Mm-hmm.
But striking out looking, Cat, when you know you got 2 strikes on you, you know it's clutch time, and you don't even bother to swing the bat, nothing makes me get out of my chair, makes me get out of my seat in the stands more, makes me get out of my recliner at my house more than watching a guy strike out looking. It just infuriates me to no end. That's my answer.
I've been trying to convince myself on the getting caught stealing / pickoff at first or second, because it rarely happens. Like, pitchers will go for it, and you even can get the feeling that they're looking over and they're using the peripheral vision to try and see if the runner has gone too far off of first, that maybe you have enough time to get him.
Sure.
And it rarely happens. So when it does happen, it's so frustrating, especially when it's in a low scoring game. And you're like, there's only going to be so many times we're going to get on base, Cat, and you got picked off or you got caught stealing at second by the catcher. I really wanted to go there, but the more and more I think about it, and it's kind of like this in the same effect, just in an opposite way of hitting into a double play, because it happens so often. Like you hit an infield grounder and it goes to either the second baseman or shortstop, or maybe even third baseman. Get it to the guy, get it to second base, get him out, and then you still have enough time to get it to first base because 90 feet is a long way for a lot of people to run. Like you could make the argument for both either way in a different stance, but it does feel like the striking out looking, not even trying when you know you have 2 strikes, and you don't even swing the bat. I think that one's the most frustrating one, especially because so often when you first went into baseball, you were taught, get the bat off your shoulder.
Because you never do know, even if it's not the greatest swing, you never do know if something fluky could happen, and you may make good enough contact where you get a little bloop single. At least get the piece of wood off your shoulder, Cat.
There's been plenty of times where it'll be not optimal or the most expected way, but as long as you get on base, whether it's a fielding error or a throwing error, or even if it does go into like no man's land, just over the pitcher's head or just over the infield, a hit is a hit and you got on base. But you never would have known. It's that same adage of you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Now, you shouldn't swing at every single pitch, but when it's 2 outs, and if it's not the most obvious ball of all time, which it probably won't be, probably could take your chance at swinging the bat because you never know.
Thank you. You never do know. Keep voting on our poll question of the day. Keep leaving your comments on Facebook and on X. We got to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll talk LSU, baseball, softball, maybe men's basketball, little football. Hey, has Lane Kiffin been in the news lately? We'll do so with Hunt Palmer of LouisianaSports.net. That's next.
This is RP3 and Mesh live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Seattle Mariners crushed the Houston Astros last night, 10-2 to hand the Stros their 4th straight loss. Tetsuya Imai was a victim of the long ball last night, giving up a 2-run homer and a grand slam through only 4 innings of work. The Astros and the Mariners will go again today for Game 3 in Houston, and it'll be Bryce Miller versus Lance McCullers Jr. on the mound. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m., and you can listen to it on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Around the AL West, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Los Angeles Angels 3-2. The Texas Rangers beat the Diamondbacks 7-4, and the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Athletics 6-4. With those results, the Athletics still sit in first place, with now the Mariners only 1 game behind in second, and Houston still 6 games back in last place. Last night in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs dismantled the Minnesota Timberwolves 126-97 to take a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference semifinals. Victor Wembanyama had a huge night, putting up 27 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now the series will head back to Minnesota on Friday night in an elimination game for the Timberwolves. Then tonight in the Motor City, the Detroit Pistons will host the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The series is all tied up at 2 apiece. Tip-off between Cleveland and Detroit is at 7 p.m. tonight from the Little Caesars Arena. And it was announced yesterday that College Game Day will be heading to Baton Rouge for LSU's season opener against the Clemson Tigers. Kickoff will be on September 5th at 6:30 p.m. in Death Valley. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Road coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Attention first responders, police officers, firefighters, military and former military personnel. If you have an acre or more of grass to cut, Skag Zero-Turn Mowers would like to thank you by offering you a special discount with their Simply the Brave First Responders program. Save big money on the industry's top-rated zero-turn mower at Nolan's Lawnmower in Carencro. Nolan's can offer well-qualified buyers 0% financing for 48 months. Come by Nolan's Lawnmower at 3547 Northwest Evangeline Thruway and check out the full line of Skag zero-turn lawnmowers.
School sports are played by humans, coached by humans, and officiated by humans. So the next time you're sitting in the stands at a school athletic event, please remember this and maintain your humanity, especially when it comes to judging and critiquing athletes, coaches, and officials. Please show your fellow humans some respect. They'll appreciate your empathy.
This message presented by the LHSAA and the Louisiana High School Athletic Directors Association.
Imagine building your dream backyard pool without ever leaving your couch. With Duplessis Builders, you can go shop our in-ground gunite pool packages online, start to finish. Browse our pool designs, compare features, see exactly what's included, and choose the package that fits your style and budget. Once you purchase, our team takes over. From permit and excavation to gunite decking and final startup, you click, we build, you swim. Your backyard upgrade is just a few clicks away. Visit duplessisbuilders.net and buy your pool online today.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Here we go. Let's head around the state we call the Boot to find out what's happening at the collegiate athletic programs in Louisiana. This is Campus Check-In. Today, we check in with the LSU Tigers.
And we're going to do so with the man who covers them for LouisianaSports.net. He does so very well. He also talks about them on his show, The Hunt Palmer Show, on ESPN 104.5 Baton Rouge. Hunt Palmer joins us today. Hunt, thank you for making the time, bud.
Always appreciate y'all having me on. How we doing?
You know what? I appreciate you being professional as well. Our two little teams, they duked it out on the diamond last night. My team was victorious, and yet you still came on the show. You didn't cancel. That's because you're a pro's pro, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, I got a feeling the Cubs are in for some bumps here. We don't have any pitchers left, and that's a bit of an issue.
Yeah, that can be. Hey, man, you got to trade for one. I told my buddy, my best friend Sean, who's in Illinois, and I told him, I said, you guys got to go trade for an arm. Got to. You're too good of a team to let this to let the injuries pile up on you and let it derail your season. All right. Before we get to baseball talk, Lane Kiffin is in the headlines for all the right reasons, obviously. I've covered the SEC long enough. I've been in sports media now 25 years. Kiffin, to me, is like the Twitter version of Steve Spurrier, and I think that's the best way to describe him. What says you?
He craves attention. He, I think, wants people to see his side and to sympathize with him. And I think he doesn't fully grasp. I think there's a part of him that grasps some of it, but doesn't fully grasp that everyone associated with Ole Miss is going to hate him forever. And I think there's a part of him that says, well, guys, like, I came there when y'all were terrible. Like, I gave you the best run in 60 years. Like, that should be good. Y'all should have enjoyed that. And that's just not how it works in sports. They're going to despise him forever for, one, leaving in the middle of a playoff run, and two, going to their second oldest rival. There's a part of him that also just wants to stir the pot, wants to needle. And I don't really care. I would advise him to stop, but he's not going to. So it is what it is. The only thing that's truly going to matter in this entire saga is how many games he wins at LSU. If he wins a lot, he can say whatever he wants on social media. If he doesn't say anything on social media and doesn't win a lot, then everybody will hate that. So it's an interesting deal until you realize that it's kind of not, because it's just going to be a situation of, okay, how many games does he win?
Correct, because even the LSU fans that, are all about him because he's their coach, right? They hated Lane Kiffin. They made fun of Lane Kiffin. They said that Kiffin couldn't win the big game and, blah, 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 you're at Ole Miss, blah, blah, blah. Well, now he's their guy, so they're down for him. And that's fandom. That's how that rolls. But you've been around this program long enough. They will roll with you. They will bleed for you. They will support you. But if you keep losing games that you should be winning, they'll get sick of your social media antics. Like, that's how it works, because this is LSU and there's a standard.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that is going to ultimately matter is how many games he wins. And really, I wrote this in a column yesterday, and people will not feel this way on September 20th, the day after the game. That game's not even that big a deal. Like, Lane Kiffin came to LSU for the next 6 to 10 years, not year one. Like, year one, he's here, and you want to win. You want to win a national championship this year. But, like, it's about building something special and winning over time. And everything that happens in the short term is going to be under a microscope, because it's such a huge story nationally. And game day is going to be in Baton Rouge for week 1, and game day is going to be in Oxford in week 3. And it'll feel like the biggest game in the history of the world. It's really not. It's just another one where it's going to be a full house and a very, very intense environment. But it's all building towards what does he do during his time here. And what he does on Twitter is not really emblematic of what happens there. Correct.
And look, you and I are kind of built the same way. Vanity Fair calls for I'm probably saying no. I'm trying to focus on building my roster. But Lane is Lane, and Lane does like attention. And he's always been that way. So to expect him to be different now is just silly, right? It's just silly of everyone to expect him to be different, because he is what he is. Like, he's the best version of himself now, right? So you're just going to have to deal with it. I do want to ask you a far more serious question. You mentioned that the game in week 3 isn't going to mean anything in the grand scheme of things, and I agree with you on that point. And it's not a very popular take, but I actually agree with you. But, we have the Oxford Police Department tweeting out, sarcastic gifs about the game being at night and everything like that. And it's going to be immensely intense. Is there any concern from you as a veteran sports guy that this could continue to build to a point where maybe things get a little dangerous?
I think a little dangerous is fair. And I do think that there's danger in batteries, and there's danger in golf balls, and there's danger in some of those things. And I have no doubt that some people are going to get too drunk and get too fired up and do something stupid. Like, that's going to happen. My sincere hope is that the super drunk guy in section 287 that fires a battery just misses and it hits the field somewhere. They want to put something, on Lane's hat to maybe protect the old dome. I wouldn't advise against that in any way. But my gut tells me, just practically speaking, that he'll get hellacious boos when LSU takes the field, that it'll be a very intense environment from that stadium, all 64,000 of them, while they're on the field, and then one team will win and one team will lose, and then they'll go get ready for the next game. It'll be an incredibly intense environment, yes. I don't anticipate some sort of, I struggle with the word, but I don't anticipate some sort of really, really bad scene in terms of actual damage being done.
Right. I mean, when he went back to Tennessee, they threw mustard bottles at him, right? So, expect that. I would expect that as well. It is going to be fascinating. All right, let's shift off of that and talk about the baseball team. Look, the season's done, right? It's lost unless they go and win the SEC tournament, which is highly unlikely the way this team is playing. My question to you is not about how dreadful this season is and how historically bad it is. My question to you is, we're starting to see Jay play some of the younger guys, the guys that he recruited, the young bucks. And they've kind of played well, right, Hunt? So my question to you is this. What you've seen in the last month of Jay kind of turning the page on this season and making sure that the younger guys get more playing time, has that impressed you, what you've seen from them?
Yeah, Cerna and Braun have been fantastic. Ruckert's settled in a little bit defensively. He's not ready to hit at this level, and neither's William Patrick. I mean, they've had some swings that have been good, and they've got some natural gifts, but they're not ready to play in the SEC right now. But they're getting some seasoning. There's no question. But Braun and Cerna have become forces offensively. Cerna with the power and the run production. Braun's just been an on-base machine since they put him in the leadoff spot. And when you looked at this team on opening day, I thought it would be Aaron Beatty at catcher, York at first, Simpson at second, Milam at short, Caraway at third, Stanfield, Brown, Curiel in the outfield. And that group, only Cade Aaron Beatty was going to be back. So if you were to DH Seth Dardar in that situation or DH, one of your older players there, you could have had a situation where you were only bringing one player back to your lineup, Cade Aaron Beatty. And on opening day, he hadn't done anything. He had just been a freshman. So that was an intimidating thing to think about on the first day of this season. Like, you're going to have to overhaul this entire team. Well, now you look up and you go, well, Aaron Beatty's a star and he's back. And Braun looks fantastic and he's back. And Cerna looks awesome and he's back. And Patrick's getting some seasoning and he's back. And Ruckert maybe can play a little bit of infield for you. And John Pearson's hit 8 home runs and played a little bit better defense when asked to do it. So now all of a sudden you've got some returning production offensively for this team, which I would not have traded that for a great season here, but it is what it is. It wasn't a great season. So what would be worse than a bad season is a bad season with no returning production coming back. And you've avoided that because you've got, you think, 3 real pillars to your offensive lineup and hopefully a couple other guys that can step up in their next season after summer ball this year and the fall.
We're talking with Hunt Palmer, host of the Hunt Palmer Show and contributor for LouisianaSports.net, talking LSU Tigers for our first campus check-in of the day. Hunt, I want to move over to softball really quickly. When it came to how the NCAA tournament fared for them and everything falling into place, they ended up being the 16th seed, being a host site for them over there at the Baton Rouge Regional once again. But they'll have Virginia Tech, South Alabama, and Akron as the other members of this regional. I'm just curious of your thoughts and reactions to how everything fell into place.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like Virginia Tech's too happy about it. It sounds like they felt like they should have been a regional host. I think that's a great break for LSU. You understand that you play in the far and away the best conference in college softball, and so you're going to be tested, and your record's not going to be as pretty as some of the other teams around the country because you play such good teams every single weekend in the SEC. So they're battle tested. I don't know how good they are, but they're battle tested. If they can swing the bats like they did against Auburn a couple of weeks ago, that would be good. But it's going to be difficult to get out of. If they do, obviously you got to take a trip to the number 1 team in the country. So it's not a super favorable draw, but at least you're on your home diamond for the first portion of it. So we'll see if they can take care of business starting on Friday afternoon.
Do you still expect them to move on, even though Virginia Tech is one of the better teams and is a really good 2 seed that you would have to face in the final round before you move on?
I certainly hope so. I'm not going to sit here and profess to be a Virginia Tech softball expert. I know a good bit about this LSU team, and they've had good weekends, and they've had weekends that weren't very good. So I can't tell you exactly how Virginia Tech stacks up with an ACC roster, but on your home diamond, yeah, you should play well and you should win.
And before we let you go, Hunt, do want to ask you our poll question of the day. We know how much you are a baseball guy, and we've got a baseball-related poll question with the sport as a whole. What's more frustrating for you to watch offensively in the sport of baseball? Is it swinging at ball 4? Is it hitting into a double play? maybe it's striking out looking, or is it for you being caught stealing / getting picked off?
Everything's situational. Being picked off, I don't like. You got to be aware on the bases, and you can't get picked off. That's a huge, huge no-no. Of the others, I would suggest that chasing ball 4 is a bad deal. Plate recognition and strike zone control is as important as anything in baseball. And if you're extending to strike out when you're talking about a 3-ball count, you've really stepped in it. So that would probably be a more common occurrence. But getting picked off, that's a no-no.
Hunt, we appreciate you coming on. Keep up the tremendous work you're doing over there covering LSU athletics, and we'll get you back on next week, all right?
Thanks, guys. Y'all be well.
We're going to go ahead and take a time out. When we come back, we'll wrap up hour number 1 of RP3 and Mesh right after this. You're listening to ESPN Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
This is RP3 and Mesh live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Whether you're needing to get yourself a new or used handgun to help protect your family, or get yourself a new rifle or shotgun for hunting season, or maybe you're just running low on ammo, the place to go, of course, is our friends at Louisiana Gun Shop, located at 2927 Highway 90 East in Broussard. They're open Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. until 6 o'clock in the evening, and because they're a local business, they pride themselves on teaming up with a local finance company to help you with a layaway program. In addition to that, they're also offering classes. That's right. A concealed carry refresher class is being offered on May the 23rd. This is only for people who have to renew their license. And they're also going to be offering a full concealed carry class on June 27th. That's Louisiana Gun Shop, located at 2927 Highway.
ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is your home for the Houston Astros.
And the Astros stun the Mariners.
Hunter Brown, Yordan Alvarez, and the rest of the Astros are looking to get back to the postseason. You can listen to every pitch, hit, and thrilling victory of the Houston Astros.
Incredible!
As Robert Ford and Steve Sparks will be on the call. Tune in this season for live Astros baseball on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
Tax season doesn't have to be stressful. Not with Black & Gold Tax Service in your corner. Conveniently located on Main Street in Broussard, we offer in-office appointments and virtual consultations. You can upload your documents to our secured portal, and we offer secure digital drop-offs. Members of the Better Business Bureau, we proudly serve South Louisiana and all 50 states with integrity, expertise, and personalized care. Visit blackandgoldtax.com and let Black & Gold Tax Service make taxes easy. Black & Gold Tax Service, where accuracy meets Acadiana pride.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number 1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
We are Lions International, the world's largest service organization. We are volunteers committed to strengthening our communities and supporting those in need, one act of kindness at a time. For more than a century, Lions have been serving a world in need right here in our community and around the world. Lions International makes the impossible possible. This is your invitation to join us, because the only thing missing from our mission to make a difference is you. Visit lionsclubs.org to find a local Lions Club near you.
You're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
Oh, we're wrapping up hour number 1 here on RP3 and Mesh. We talked NFL schedules. International slate has been released. We did that earlier on today's show, reacted to it. We just got done talking all things LSU related with Hunt Palmer from LouisianaSports.net. We also have our poll question. What infuriates you more about baseball?
Hunt said it's getting picked off / getting caught stealing.
Look,
which,
I can respect it. I despise all 4 things.
And I was leaning towards that one for the longest time as well. So I definitely get where he's coming from. Now we've gotten quite a few comments so far on the poll question.
Oh, why don't we share it with our people?
Yeah, Ralph says the Houston Astros are offensive, and then had a screenshot of one of Kevin's old Foots Friday Furies. This is going back to 23. He took a screenshot of that one. Jeez. Okay. But another comment he had was bases loaded, no outs, and you don't score any runs. The sacrifice fly and bunt are a lost art. I don't know.
Bad bunting is infuriating as well. That's a good comment.
I've seen quite a few times where that happens, but sacrifice flies and bunts definitely aren't a lost art, I would say. Ton says, I hate when my team hits into a double play, especially an inning-ending double play with runners in scoring position.
That's brutal.
That one's rough.
That's brutal.
When you have, because I've seen it quite a few times lately where there will be runners on second and third, but with 2 outs, or even with 1 out, and then boom, shortstop, throw it to second, throw it to first, end it. Or another one could be you got the runner on third, but because they hit it into the infield, runner on third runs home, but still gets tagged out before hitting home plate.
I mean, there's so many things you can be infuriated by with baseball.
Oh, 100%. Kai says striking out looking. Swing the bat.
Yes.
Loop back says backwards K is the worst out of all of them. At least you swung at ball 4.
And for me, I just remember growing up and playing from T-ball and playing Little League all the way through, even played my freshman year in high school. Every coach I ever had, from T-ball through freshman baseball at East Ascension, all said the same thing. Don't strike out looking. Swing the bat. You never do know if you're going to make contact or not. Don't strike out looking. Don't strike out with the bat still in your hand and you haven't done anything with it, because what's the point? That was beat into me. We ran laps around the field. We stayed extra at practice. Every coach I ever had, from Mobile, Mississippi, New Orleans, and Baton Rouge, every coach I had, don't strike out looking. That's where I'm at, period.
If you're going to go down with a fight.
At least go down swinging, Cat. Come on. What are we doing?
Go down fighting.
Keep voting on our poll question of the day. Keep leaving your comments on Facebook and on X. Hour 1's in the books. Hour number 2 coming up.
This is Law Enforcement Week, and we are proud to salute those who protect and serve our communities every day. Powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac and Delta Media Corp., we will be out delivering cookie trays and sweet treats to local law enforcement agencies as a small thank you for a big job well done. This includes our wildlife and fisheries officers, jailers and corrections officers, probation officers, and all who serve in the law enforcement arena. To every one of you, thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your commitment. We salute you this week and every week.
It's 9 a.m. You just received a voicemail from your boss.
Hey, Janet. Heads up. We got an important meeting coming up Thursday. The big guys are coming into town, so I need you in charge of lunch, and we've got to look good.
Luckily for Janet, she knows a place, and she knows her boss will be impressed.
Honey Baked Ham can cater your next event. Delicious and freshly sliced deli trays, box lunches with sandwich, chips, and dessert. Or try our fresh salad boxes and the perfect touch with a meat and cheese tray. Honey Baked Ham Company.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code TALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Karen Crow Lafayette, KLCJ FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Seattle Mariners crushed the Houston Astros last night, 10-2 to hand the Stros their fourth straight loss. Tetsuya Imai was a victim of the long ball last night, giving up a 2-run homer and a grand slam through only 4 innings of work. The Astros and the Mariners will go again today for Game 3 in Houston, and it'll be Bryce Miller versus Lance McCullers Jr. on the mound. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m., and you can listen to it on ESPN, 103.7 Lafayette, and 104.1 Lake Charles. Around the AL West, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Los Angeles Angels 3-2. The Texas Rangers beat the Diamondbacks 7-4, and the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Athletics 6-4. With those results, the Athletics still sit in first place, with now the Mariners only 1 game behind in second, and Houston still 6 games back in last place. Last night in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs dismantled the Minnesota Timberwolves 126-97 to take a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference semifinals. Victor Wembanyama had a huge night, putting up 27 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now the series will head back to Minnesota on Friday night in an elimination game for the Timberwolves. Then tonight in the Motor City, the Detroit Pistons will host the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The series is all tied up at 2 apiece. Tip-off between Cleveland and Detroit is at 7 p.m. tonight from the Little Caesars Arena. And it was announced yesterday that College Game Day will be heading to Baton Rouge for LSU's season opener against the Clemson Tigers. Kickoff will be on September 5th at 6:30 p.m. in Death Valley. I'm Blake Persher, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dynamic duos are nothing new to Louisiana sports fans. Breeze and Colston, Burrow and Chase. And here in Acadiana, we have our very own dynamic duo.
You're beautiful.
It's the big, bald, bearded, and beautiful one, Raymond Parch III.
I'm sexy and I know it.
And the man with the best head of hair in sports talk radio in Louisiana and Mississippi, James Mesh. Here is RP3 and Mesh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Hour number 2 has arrived here on this Wednesday edition of RP3 and Mesh. We're broadcasting live from inside the Beal and Hebert studios here in Upper Lafayette. Beal and Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. I'm the big, bald, beautiful one, Raymond Parch III, better known as RP3, or as Mr. Bobby says, 2 out of 3. And I'm joined once again by James Mesh, the producer extraordinaire, LAB award winner, and the man with the best trash stash in sports media in the states of Louisiana and Mississippi. Coming up, half an hour from right now, our third and final campus check-in guest of the day, Jim Gazzola from the Lake Charles American Press. We're going to talk McNeese baseball and McNeese softball with our good friend, the great one. We also have a poll question of the day. We want you to keep voting on that. Keep leaving your comments on that as well. Not surprisingly, Kevin Foote disagrees with my take. Kevin wants everyone to agree with him. I don't need everyone to agree with me. I'm okay being an individual and not being upset that others don't agree with me. Just saying. Just saying. But right now, let's kick off hour number 2 with our second campus check-in guest of the day. It's time for us to talk about Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
Here we go. Let's head around the state we call the Boot to find out what's happening at the collegiate athletic programs in Louisiana. This is Campus Check-In. Today, we check in with the Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
And we do so with our friend Jamarcus Fitzpatrick of KATC. Jamarcus, good day, sir.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
We're doing well. We're doing well. All right. Let's dive right in here and talk about the baseball program. I thought that was an impressive series victory on the road against a top 3 ranked team in your conference, especially considering you had the awful setback against UNO in the midweek game. What did you make of what Matt Deggs' team was able to do on the road at App State?
Yeah, man, it was impressive. Like you mentioned, App State coming in was the number 1 batting average offense in the Sun Belt. And so your bullpen was able to give you a lot of early success. Cody Brash giving you a really good start on Friday night. Ty Roman also giving you a good start on Sunday. And then your run support in behind it was able to set you up in a great position. And that's ultimately what you want. And right now, when you're down the stretch and, you had a up and down middle part of your season, you really needed to be able to come out and close and finish very, very strong here on the back half of the season. And so far, so good. They've got a big series coming up starting tomorrow night against Coastal Carolina. I truly believe that they have to win this series and then go ahead and handle business in the conference tournament to have a shot at a regional bid.
You really think they have to win the series against Coastal and they have to go win the conference tournament just to get in?
Absolutely. It kind of brings me back to the 2022 season, back when they won it last, the conference tournament. There it is. And I want to say that their record was closely similar to what it is now. I was just looking back at the history and how it shows, man. And yeah, because of where their RPI is and because of the games that they've lost, I think the Texas State series really hurt them quite a bit because the latest projections from D1 Baseball and Baseball America has Texas State as the first team in, or the last 4 teams in, and Louisiana as the first 4 out. So if you just handle business in San Marcos and you get that victory, you're potentially in a completely different scenario. But because things are stacked the way that they are, I do believe that's what you have to do.
So you don't think they would get a big enough boost if they win 2 of 3 against a Coastal Carolina team that's nationally ranked and is in the top 25 in RPI? You don't think that's enough?
I think that it would help for sure. But at the end of the day, because of some of those other losses that you've had down the stretch, the UNO loss, again, the Texas State series, the ULM series loss, the James Madison series loss, where their RPI is much, much worse than yours. I talked about it in my last episode of Raging Rundown about, like, bad losses can sometimes cover up great wins that you have. You have the Southern Miss series victory. You have, potentially the Coastal Carolina series victory. That's great. But because of what it was during the season, the setbacks that you had, it makes it harder for them to, you're leaving it up to chance, in my opinion. I feel like if you go in and you handle your business and you win it, you don't have to worry about maybe do we get in, are we a bubble team, do we potentially get in? It's we're in and we know we're in.
I see. I disagree with you, but you're making some good points here. So now you're making me nervous about the Cajuns. So let's, because I thought, okay, yeah, they're going to have to win a couple of games in Montgomery, but if they beat Coastal, that they're going to put them in a good spot. But you make some good points that maybe those bad losses are going to keep them out. Let's talk about this 3-game series against the defending national runner-ups, nationally ranked program, great RPI. They come to the Teague for a 3-game set starting Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. What are some of the challenges that the Chanticleers, a.k.a. the Angry Sea Roosters, present Matt Deggs' team?
Yeah, man. I mean, they're just a quality program all around. So, when you're playing a good baseball team, if they smell blood in the water at any given time, they're going to strike. So you're going to have to continue the same formula that you've had in these past couple of weeks, which is to get early offense going, to get a good outing from your bullpen to start out, and then being able to just play clean baseball on the back end, and you can hold off to win. Now, a chink in the armor that Coastal has, the last 5 weeks of this season, they've won every conference series that they've played except last weekend against ODU. But every Sunday of the last 5 weeks, they've lost that game. So if the Cajuns can create energy from the home crowd and can steal a Friday night and then let things fall however they fall on Saturday, obviously you're playing to win. But if you can come back and the psyche of a team that's lost Sunday games for the past 5 weeks, they can potentially fall into a scenario of, oh, no, here we go again. So if you can steal a Friday night and then maybe play for a rubber match on Sunday if you don't get the Saturday victory, hey, man, now you're looking in a much better position. But like I said, that victory is going to help you a ton. But I think if you go to the conference tournament and you get bounced immediately, I don't think you get in. So I think that you still have to handle your business in the conference tournament, but you're definitely gonna set yourself up for success, getting a series victory over the Shots.
And it should be a great atmosphere. It typically always is there at the Teague, and now with Coastal coming to town, that's a marquee series. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about softball. It's over. Another season under 30 wins. There's a lot to dissect here. I think Allison Habits it needs to be given a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here. She took over a program where the roster was gutted. Then she had the issues with the assistant coaches, which, let's be honest, we're not on the same page with her, and we're not really helping her. And we don't have time to dive into that, Jamarcus. I thought they were a little better this year, even though the records were kind of the same. They still lost 4 conference series this year, just like they did last year. They did have a win over a top 25 ranked opponent, just like they did last year. For you, as someone who covers this team all the time, what does she and her staff need to do to bring this team back up to where it used to be, where it was competing for Sun Belt Conference championships?
For one, I think it's just consistency all around, whether that's, from the plate or in the circle or anything like that. But I also think that it has to start in the circle, right? You have a strong ace that you have kind of built things around in Sage Hoover. But outside of that, you didn't have a ton of consistency all the time. Bethany Noble would give you good moments, and then she wouldn't. Lexi Delbray was your initial Friday night starter, and then she wasn't. Bailey Mackles never really got an opportunity to show what she was capable of as a freshman, and then Julianne Tipton was used in so many different roles that she was never able to be consistent. So I think that you have to go right now. I did an episode on this right after the season was over on Raging Rundown as well. But right now, your roster, you probably have, if all things stand with what you have returning, you probably have 23 players. So you maybe have 2 more roster spots available. Those are going to have to be immediate impact players out of the portal that you go and get. So last year you were in a similar situation. You went and got Kennedy Marceau, you got Julianne Tipton, and the third one is slipping my mind as I'm talking about it. But that's what you're going to have to do once again. And then you have your freshman class that's coming in where you have 6 players that you signed back in the fall of last season. You're going to have to go out and build off of that.
We're talking with Jamarcus Fitzpatrick of KATC and the Raging Rundown podcast. Jamarcus, staying with softball, it's now been about a week since the season ended, since top-seeded ULM, which still feels weird to say, but you lost to them, into the season, aren't going to be in postseason play. As everything is played out now, and you've had a week to kind of digest everything, how would you grade out this second year for Allison Habits as a coach?
I I'd say that it's probably a C once again, just because that it's average, and that's what they were this season. Like when it was good, it was good. When it was bad, it was bad. They proved that they had a ton of potential, but they didn't have enough consistency in behind that potential to be able to exceed any expectations that they would have for themselves. And now obviously this program still has some work to do because of this new era that we are in. Initially when she took the job, the roster was decimated, and so she had to rebuild it up with just immediate players on the roster. Now, after this season, I think she's really going to start rolling in players that she has recruited, that she has developed, that she knows more about. I mean, you think about Haley Hart, the Sun Belt Freshman of the Year that she's now brought into the program. Emily Smith was a Sun Belt Freshman of the Year the previous year. So she has absolutely brought in some pieces into this program that she has scouted and that she believes is going to be able to help them. And now it's just about getting them to be able to live up to their expectations, and then the sky is the limit from there.
One of the big points to me this whole year that really stood out was the offense just wasn't there at points. They looked more comfortable at home, which was definitely noticeable since they only won 3 road games all season. But at the same time, the offense was so wishy-washy at points, and I know that the pitching staff is definitely a big focus this offseason, but I'm wondering about the bats and where you can add that, whether it's in high school or in the portal, to give more juice to that lineup to help you win more games.
Yeah, I think that you had some really, really good hitting across the board. It just wasn't consistent enough, You were much, much better than what you were last season from the long ball perspective, driving in runs. You had a lot more power hitting and things like that. But like you said, like they are going to have to try to find where their consistency can lie, because, if you're able to score 8 or 9 runs sometimes in a game, that can almost cover up giving up 4 or 5 by your pitching staff. You do want it to sync up together where you can have a cohesive unit, but they're going to have to also be consistent from behind the dish as well.
And I think the point with the offense as well is, yes, they did have their moments. There's no doubt about that. And they were much better at hitting home runs than in 2025. I think at the same time, though, if they had to face a good pitcher and when they had to face the ace of the staff, especially like we had seen last week against Ashanti McDade, I mean, they just had no chance, because going back to last week, it was going to take, and we had this conversation with Dawson and Kevin afterwards. It felt like, was it going to take 15, 16, 17 innings until there was going to be enough runs or enough runners on the base paths for the Cajuns to even put a run on the board?
Yeah, I think that it was also that, they weren't executing well enough in a lot of instances, because if I remember correctly, they had 2 runners on in the top of the first inning, like the very start of the game. They had a runner on first and second, and ULM got out of that jam. I want to say that they stranded 5 runners, and ULM also stranded 10 in that game. So it was kind of a mixed bag on both sides of the teams not being able to hit very, very well. I think that they have to figure out a way to get the execution down just as much, whether that is laying down the bunt properly, that's timing out the steal properly, whatever it takes to get those runs and manufacture them in, and then also just having good plate discipline, waiting for the right pitch and being able to slam one out into open space. That's what it's going to take down the stretch, especially when you start getting deep into the seasons like what they had this past year.
Jamarcus, before we let you go, why don't you let people know where they can find the Rage and Rundown podcast?
Yeah, man, we are on all listening platforms. That's Apple, Spotify, Amazon, anywhere that you listen. And then we're also visually where you can watch it on YouTube. So you guys go ahead and check that out. We're dropping multiple episodes a week, trying to get a pretty consistent schedule as we transition over into the summer months. But we're still going to be talking recruiting, still going to be talking off-season structure and all of those big things. So all things that you happen with UO Sports, you'll be able to get it on Rage and Rundown.
Absolutely. Jamarcus, appreciate you coming on, man. Once again, we'll get you back on next week. Have fun being able to cover the Cajuns, especially with baseball as we get down the stretch.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
We're going to go ahead and take a timeout. When we come back, we'll talk NBA playoffs. We're down to a couple of semifinal games of the conference, I should say, because we still got 2 series left before we get to the conference finals and then the NBA finals. But we had Spurs-Wolves last night. We'll talk about that after this. You're listening to RP3 and Mesh.
This is RP3 and Mesh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
May is Military Appreciation Month, and ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles and Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service off I-49 in Carencro are honoring our military all month long. Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service owners Stacy and Dawn Benoit would like to take this opportunity to recognize all of our current service members, veterans, and families. Nolan's takes pride in recognition of all military as well as first responders with special discounts on their zero-turn mowers. May is Military Appreciation Month, and we salute you. It's powered by Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service and ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Palermo. Join us on Tuesday nights for Tiger Rag Radio. Myself, Todd Horn, and Glenn Gilbo give you the latest happenings in Tiger Town and across the SEC. We talk to coaches, analysts, and those in the know when it comes to the Tigers and the Southeastern Conference. We cover all the sports: football, baseball, basketball, softball, and gymnastics. That's Tuesday nights right here on ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette and 104.1 in Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3-gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
Need peace of mind with your estate planning? Turn to Beal & Aber, your trusted hometown lawyers. At Beal & Aber, we make estate planning simple and stress-free, ensuring your legacy is secure and your future is in the right hands. Don't wait. Schedule your consultation today at BealAbear.com. That's BealAbear.com. Safeguarding your tomorrow today.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Oh, look who's here. Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV. Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Do you know a veteran in need? Nation's Finest, through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, helps veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada, helping thousands of veterans every year. Visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
We pride ourselves on treating our listeners like royalty.
Excuse me.
Not actual members of the royal family, mind you, but rather individuals who wear paper crowns. Hey, it's better than nothing. Back to more of ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles.
The NBA playoffs rolled on last night as we get through the second round. We're down to 2 series over there after we'd seen a couple of sweeps the last couple of days. So that meant we only had 1 game go down in the association last night, and that was San Antonio Spurs versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. And this one was one of the intriguing series since at that point in time, going into last night's game, it was tied at 2 games apiece. You'd seen the Timberwolves. They're a very feisty bunch. They kind of show they're a good team in the regular season, but you definitely see them become a different team once they get into the playoffs. And the fact that they beat the Denver Nuggets in the first round, and they've taken a couple of games already within the first couple of games against the San Antonio Spurs, the number 2 seed in the West. This was lining up to be a very intriguing series. And would it go 7 games? Could it? Well, if anything plays out for Game 6 like it did last night, that's not going to happen. We saw the San Antonio Spurs absolutely dismantle the Minnesota Timberwolves, as our guy BP would describe it.
They're the better team.
Oh,
and
yes.
It shows. And we have to be honest here. Minnesota steals a game when Wemby got ejected.
Mm-hmm. And also going back to Game 1 when Minnesota had stole that one in San Antonio.
Correct.
That one you saw just disappointing offensive outputs by De'Aaron Fox and from Victor Wembanyama, and the rest of the guys just weren't able to recover from that. So based on the set of circumstances, you've seen Minnesota get a couple of games and definitely make this a series. But we're starting to see the Spurs kind of come into fold, and outside of a fluky incident or two, San Antonio should have no problem going into Game 6 and wrapping up this series. The reason why, if you look back at last night, you saw them jump out to about a 24-9 lead late in the first quarter, and Minnesota battled back, especially since Anthony Edwards has now found himself into the starting lineup. That knee injury isn't bothering him as much, and he's definitely proven to the staff that he can go out there and play meaningful minutes instead of being on a minutes restriction, which helps their chances. There's no doubt about that. But the way that Minnesota plays and the way that this San Antonio defense is starting to really swarm at Minnesota, it's started to become a lot harder and really lessens the chances for the Wolves to force a Game 7 and maybe even win this series.
I just don't see it. I see San Antonio. I agree with you. I see the Spurs punching their ticket and moving on, and we're going to get Thunder Spurs, and I'm here for that. I'm fascinated. Look, I do not try to sit here and pretend that I watch NBA during the regular season as much as I used to, because I don't. What I'm fascinated by is how does the Thunder take Wemby out of the game or limit him? Chet Holmgren is not a great defensive player. It's not his game.
Also, Chet has like a Victor Wembanyama has basically like a personal vendetta of making sure to always crush the matchup against Chet Holmgren.
Correct.
And also, Isaiah Hartenstein's a solid center, but he's not going to be able to stop Wemby either.
So, do the Spurs have enough good players around Wemby, Harper, and others to go toe-to-toe? Because on the surface, you go, okay, SGA is going to get his, Wemby's going to get his. And probably SGA is going to score more points than Wemby on a game basis. But let's just say, for all intents purposes, that's a wash.
Okay.
You still probably lean Thunder because of Williams and Holmgren and all the other players that they have, because it feels like they have better offensive weapons than the Spurs do. Is that fair?
Yeah. I like Castle. I like Harper.
Even though I think San Antonio is maybe a little bit more physical. And maybe that's your equalizer. But then I worry about how many foul calls the Thunder get, not only from SGA, but across the board, that maybe San Antonio's a little bit more defensive-minded physicality could actually hurt them in this Western Conference Finals.
Now, I do find interesting is if you look at the trends and how it's gone down this year, the Spurs have actually beat the Thunder 4 out of 5 times. So that's what, because
so we'll have to go back and look at those games.
Yeah. Like December 13th, Spurs won by 2. 10 days later, they beat the Thunder by 20. 2 days later, the Spurs beat the Thunder by 15. Back on January 13th, the Thunder won in a rout. They won that one by 21. And then on February 4th, the Spurs won by 10.
Okay.
So that's why it's like this series and the way it's been described, even going back to earlier on in the season, if this Spurs-Thunder matchup, San Antonio, for a multitude of reasons, has the best chance of dethroning OKC. And it's not only because they were the number 2 seed, but also based off of what we'd seen in these 5 matchups.
They also have a generational talent.
They match up a lot better than other teams against OKC.
And having generational talent, it goes a long way, too.
I mean, yeah.
When you have a special, like if healthy, right, a special unicorn, that makes all the difference. What I would love to see is this be a long series, 6 or 7 games.
I would expect this to be a 7-game series, or I would hope so, at least.
Because I think these are the 2 teams you're going to see dominate the West moving forward because of their young cores. Lakers are not going to be there unless they go out and trade for Giannis and pair him up with Luka and figure out how to retool that roster. Dallas is still way far away, right? They still need to build. Minnesota doesn't feel like they have enough guys around Ant. You're still depending on Rudy Gobert. And Denver feels like they're trending backwards. So it feels like we're going to have Oklahoma City and San Antonio for like the next 5 years.
Yeah. Especially since both of those cores have really young players.
Which I'm here for. If you're going to give me SGA and Wemby, I'm down.
To represent the West more often than not? Yeah, I mean,
I'm great.
You're not going to be upset about that at all. Now, I do wonder about when is J-Dub, Jalen Williams, going to return to the floor for OKC?
That could be we're up against a timeout, and we'll talk more about this once the matchup gets solidified.
Yeah.
That could be your ultimate X factor in the Western Conference Finals is J-Dub.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to be able to get him to give you 20-plus minutes a game in double-digit points, I have a hard time believing that San Antonio can win the series. But if you're still limiting him and he's only giving you like 10 minutes and 6 points a game, I like San Antonio's chances. I think he's the X factor.
And then Cleveland, Detroit tonight, this one's going to be really intriguing. Are we going to see the playoff Harden that I would expect to see? And is Cade Cunningham going to bounce back from a pedestrian performance? And how is the rest of his friends just going to bounce back as well? Because they were utterly disappointing.
Once again, we're up against a timeout. I don't expect Cade Cunningham to have a mediocre game again.
No, it's hard to believe that, especially with how prolific he's been so far this playoffs.
If Detroit wins tonight, they win the series, in my opinion. If they lose, I think Cleveland
then it becomes really shaky.
Yeah,
But I still lean Detroit no matter what.
We got to take a timeout. When we come back, our third and final guest of today's show, we'll check in with the McNeese Cowboys Cowgirls with our buddy Jim Gazzolo of the Lake Charles American Press. That's next.
This is RP3 and Mesh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Seattle Mariners crushed the Houston Astros last night, 10-2 to hand the Stros their 4th straight loss. Tetsuya Imai was a victim of the long ball last night, giving up a 2-run homer and a grand slam through only 4 innings of work. The Astros and the Mariners will go again today for Game 3 in Houston, and it'll be Bryce Miller versus Lance McCullers Jr. on the mound. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m., and you can listen to it on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Around the AL West, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Los Angeles Angels 3-2. The Texas Rangers beat the Diamondbacks 7-4, and the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Athletics 6-4. With those results, the Athletics still sit in first place, with now the Mariners only 1 game behind in second, and Houston still 6 games back in last place. Last night in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs dismantled the Minnesota Timberwolves 126-97 to take a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference semifinals. Victor Wembanyama had a huge night, putting up 27 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now the series will head back to Minnesota on Friday night in an elimination game for the Timberwolves. Then tonight in the Motor City, the Detroit Pistons will host the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The series is all tied up at 2 apiece. Tip-off between Cleveland and Detroit is at 7 p.m. tonight from the Little Caesars Arena. And it was announced yesterday that College Game Day will be heading to Baton Rouge for LSU's season opener against the Clemson Tigers. Kickoff will be on September 5th at 6:30 p.m. in Death Valley. I'm Blake Persher, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Road coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
It's May, and spring is finally here. A time of growth, renewal, and hope. And what better time to kick off Mental Health Awareness Month? Johnwell Therapeutic Services are proud to highlight May as National Mental Health Month. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. Reach out to a friend, family member, or professional if you need support. It's okay to take things one step at a time. You're not alone. Johnwell Therapeutic Services, proud supporters of National Mental Health Month.
ESPN 103.7 KLWB FM and 104.1 KLCJ FM are properties of Delta Media Corporation, Southwest Louisiana's only locally owned and operated premier multimedia company with radio, television, and digital properties. ESPN 103.7 and 104.1 often conducts promotional contests on the air and on our digital platforms to include ESPN SouthwestLouisiana.com and the ESPN Text Club. In order to participate in any contest promotion, you must be at least 18 years of age and reside within the broadcast coverage area of ESPN. Only one winner per household for 30 days. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Winners agree to pay any taxes or fees related to a prize as noted in contest rules. Winners also agree that ESPN Southwest Louisiana has permission to use their name, likeness, portrait, recorded voice, or other biographical material to promote the station and participating sponsors. Employees, family members, and sponsors of ESPN Southwest Louisiana and Delta Media are not eligible to participate in any promotional contest. A complete list of rules can be found online at ESPNSouthwestLouisiana.com or available to view at the main offices of Delta Media Corporation during operating business hours, located at 3501 Northwest Evangeline Thruway, Carencro.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
School sports are played by humans, coached by humans, and officiated by humans. So the next time you're sitting in the stands at a school athletic event, please remember this and maintain your humanity, especially when it comes to judging and critiquing athletes, coaches, and officials. Please show your fellow humans some respect. They'll appreciate your empathy.
This message presented by the LHSAA and the Louisiana High School Athletic Directors Association.
Here we go. Let's head around the state we call the Boot to find out what's happening at the collegiate athletic programs in Louisiana. This is Campus Check-In. Today, we check in with the McNeese Cowboys.
Oh, and we do so by a man who is considered great. He embodies greatness. He covers the McNeese Cowboys and Cowgirls for the Lake Charles American Press. He's also the host of the Pokecast podcast. He's also a soon-to-be published author. An all-around good guy. Jimmy G from LC, Jim Gazzolo joins us now. Jim, good day to you.
Good day, Raymond. How are you today?
I am doing tremendous. I get to take a few minutes here to talk to you, bud. Huh?
We all have low points.
Yeah. I want to start off with our poll question of the day. Are you prepared? Are you ready?
I don't know it, but yes, I will attempt to answer.
You are a lifelong baseball guy, like myself. So
yes,
and you're a bit of a curmudgeon. So this is perfect, like I am as well. What's more frustrating to watch offensively in baseball? Is it swinging at ball 4? Is it hitting into a double play? Is it striking out while looking? Or is it caught stealing or being picked off? What frustrates you more about your team offensively of those 4 options?
Well, being a White Sox fan and seeing all of them often, I do not like seeing striking at ball 4 because that means you do not know the strike zone.
Fair point.
So that's my most frustrating.
I'd
say wasted opportunity.
Yes. I get frustrated by all 4. I think there's not a wrong answer in the bunch. I vote striking out looking. I was beat in my head as a child through youth baseball and junior high and high school baseball. I had every skipper I ever had would berate you and make you run laps if you struck out looking. Like nothing made them more angry than that. At least try to make contact, especially if you already got 2 strikes on you. Like, what are you doing? And I know some of the analytics says, if you're a good enough hitter, just take the pitch and you'll draw the walk. But I've seen a lot of guys strike out looking, and nothing makes me more angry.
And that is frustrating. But I can tell you, having played, when you play at the higher levels and that, you get fooled more because you play more guessing games. So depending on situations is always, and depending on what kind of hitter you are, I always take that into account.
It's fair. Very fair by you. Okay.
But all of them are frustrating. So stealing bases doesn't really affect me because I never did. So that was not an option.
You're more of a power hitter. Yeah, more of a guy hitting it in the gap.
I was station to station.
Station to station. I like that. All right, buddy, let's talk about this McNeese baseball team. They're going to begin Southland Conference tournament play tomorrow versus Nichols. They have ended the season strong on a 4-game winning streak, including sweeping the previously pretty good Demons of Northwestern State University. Give me your thoughts on how Justin Hill's team is playing heading into the postseason tournament.
Yeah, and moving all the ways up from the 7th seed to the tied for 4th in the league. And probably would have been the 4th seed had Nichols had to play its last 2 games, but rain wiped that out. I think their pitching has come around to the point where they throw strikes now. They have some hit and miss ability. They had a lot of guys who were injured that were coming off injuries that have kind of lengthened their bullpen, especially. Cooper Golden has been better. He was fantastic last weekend in the opener of the series in a 1-0 McNeese 11-inning win. So I think that's really been the difference. Offensively, they're still a little hit or miss too much. They did show a little power over the weekend, but I think that's always a product of how Joe Miller Ballpark plays. When the wind's blowing out, it plays very small. When it's blowing in, it plays big. But I think that the pitching, having a 1.2 ERA over the weekend in 30 innings, essentially, is a huge step forward because it wasn't just one guy. It was 4 or 5 guys contributing and the bullpen really coming through.
Okay. Now they have to play in the conference tournament. The only way this team is going to make an NCAA regional is by winning the conference tournament. What do you like their chances to at least make a run here?
As much as anybody.
Really?
And that means that everybody can. They beat Southeastern, who won the league twice. They beat Nichols twice, who they opened with. They lost to Houston Christian, who's the 8th seed. They lost 2 out of 3 to New Orleans, who didn't make the tournament. I think this is just a league that is so evenly matched. Nobody's great. They all have huge problems and huge upsides, but nobody's a complete team. that anybody can win it, anybody can lose it in two, and the hard part is how well do you play this weekend, because that's really it. How well do you pitch the baseball this weekend will determine who's going to come out and be in the championship series. And if anybody tells you they think this team is that much better than the other team, I think they're crazy. They haven't watched it. There's nobody great. There's nobody terrible. There's nobody great.
We're talking with a great,
unbelievably nothing statement. I can't give you what's going to happen because I don't know. I've seen McNeese. They've never had longer than a 4-game winning streak. They've never had longer than a 4-game losing streak.
Well, and that's what we had brought up last week, was just the fact that they never been swept, but they've never swept anybody either. They've been pretty back and forth all season. So the fact that you've been consistently inconsistent shows exactly that you probably won't make a run. But also, it's been very similar with this whole Southland Conference. So I don't blame you with that, Jim. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, that's the hard part is there's nobody that's really made a run or somebody would have separated themselves. The fact that you can go in one weekend and get your only sweep of the year and end up jumping, 4 spots in the standings shows you there's a lot of other teams that are in the same boat. And I don't. There's no great pitcher. There's no great hitter. There's no one guy that can carry you. It's going to be somebody we haven't heard of.
Well, let's move over to softball because there's a lot to talk about over there. We'd seen James Landreau's team end up winning 2 out of 3 in the Southland Conference Championship Series, beating Lamar. Now, it took 10 innings to get Game 1. They narrowly lost in Game 2 by 1 run, and then they absolutely exploded, putting up 10 runs and winning it in 5 innings, crushing the Cardinals to capture their 10th championship series in program history. Just give me your overall thoughts and just recapping and reliving everything that happened last weekend.
They're playing their best softball. They've won 17 of 20. They were the better team. They only gave up 11 hits. They had the one bad inning in Game 2 when they hit the first 2 batters and gave up 3 runs in the first inning and caught up, but then lost at the end. Maddie Taylor was tremendous pitching. The defense was really good because she didn't strike out a lot of players. They turned 3 double plays in the 5 innings of the championship game. They did everything right for the weekend, and they really hit the softball, especially the last game. They hit 3 homers. They hit 5 homers in the last 2 games. They can win the Southland Conference. The problem with McNeese, to me, is when you get into regional play, I don't think they have the pitcher who can go out and miss enough bats when you need to. And that's what I'm going to have to see is, do they get enough strikeouts? Do they get enough easy outs so that everything isn't tough? Because everything becomes magnified with the one pitcher as the star. Now, Maddie Taylor's been good. She's 18-4, but she's not a strikeout pitcher.
Looking at Lamar's perspective of it all, I mean, their ace, Reagan Smith, she had a great performance. It took 10 innings until we saw 1 run, and it was, and obviously we saw it happen from McNeese's end of getting that RBI double to seal the game. So Reagan played great on Thursday. The fact that they took her out early on Friday, to me, said, okay, they've started to really figure her out, so there should be no reason that you roll with her in Game 3, if there is one, which ended up being the case, and they brought out Reagan Smith for a 3rd time, and the way that McNeese was swinging the bat in those first 2 games said to me that they are ready, they are prone and ready for an explosive game offensively. And then it was further proven in my eyes before the game when Reagan went out there once again, and that's exactly what happened because she didn't even get out of the first inning. I thought it was a doom sentence for them when they probably felt like they had to make the move, even though no matter what, it felt like it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
They had nobody really else to turn to, and that's been their case the whole year. Reagan Smith pitched tremendously against Southeastern, and I think it was 20 innings over the weekend, or against Southeastern. She gave up 2 runs. She was great in the first game, but she didn't give up 8 hits. McNeese had a lot of runners on base. They didn't get the big hit. The next day, you saw them catch up and make her make adjustments. I thought they were probably going to win big on Saturday because of that. And I don't think Lamar had another option. They went to Prejean, who did well in the second game, but they started to hit her at the end of the second game, and they just kept it going. McNeese is very good at adjusting to pitchers, and I think they did that with Reagan Smith. Really, she pitched against them 4 games. In the 4 games, she had the one great game in Game 1 in the championship. She didn't survive the second inning in the first game in the regular season. She didn't survive the first game or the first inning in the second game of the championship. She got knocked out in the third inning of the third game. So really, they had her number most of the year. She just had one good night against them.
And now that they've won their championship series, they move on to regional play. They punch their ticket for the 10th time in program history. What do you make of the draw that they got, since they'll be in the College Station Regional, having to face the likes of Texas A&M, Arizona State, and UConn?
I think the interesting thing is how they got to play close to home. It was either going to be Baton Rouge or here was what the fans could like. So they got that. They got the second closest regional, which I think is nice for their fans. It's certainly nice for my drive over on Saturday. But I do think they're used to doing well in the tournament, as is Southeastern. The last 4 years, the Southland Conference teams have gone to the regional championship. McNeese has been 5-4 in that time. Southeastern has been 4-4. McNeese has won a game in, I think, 7 of their last 8 regionals. So they've had success. I think they'll win a game in this regional.
Okay.
I don't know if they can get back to the championship because the pitchers are so good in this regional, especially Arizona State, that I think it's going to be tough for them to win a low-scoring game. They can hit. McNeese can hit. Can they hit the 67, 68 miles an hour they're going to see is the question.
With you bringing up the Baton Rouge Regional, would you have rather them take on the likes of LSU, Virginia Tech, or Alabama, or do you think them being in College Station was the better draw, matchup-wise?
I mean, LSU is the 16th seed, so on paper that would say it's a little easier, but it's only one spot. Texas A&M is 15th seed. They got beat by both of them during the year, so they're accustomed to both settings. But I think this is fine. Maybe they get UConn in the second game. Arizona State finished 6th in the Big 12 regular season, so they are beatable. So if you look at it that way, this is a good spot for them. The problem is they just beat Texas Tech to win the Big 12 championship, so they're playing their best softball too. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag there.
Yeah, not only that, but Virginia Tech, 46-10 on the season, definitely nothing to sneeze at when you're looking at a 2 seed in a regional. Jim, we appreciate you coming on. Keep up the tremendous work you're doing over there covering the McNeese Cowboys and Cowgirls, and we'll get you back on next week, all right?
And, hey, as of tonight, the White Sox could be 500.
That'd be exciting. Appreciate it, Jim.
Yep.
We're going to go ahead and take a timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap up this edition of RP3 Mesh right after this. You're listening to ESPN, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
This is RP3 and Mesh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The Refinery Mission in Opelousas is an organization that provides emergency and transitional housing, addiction recovery, and reentry services for men. The Refinery Classic Golf Tournament is going to be on Monday, May 18th at Farm Alley Golf Club in Carencro. The money raised from the event will benefit the nonprofit organization that has been helping men struggling with addiction and homelessness for more than 30 years. The cost for the 3-man team is $400, which includes unlimited driving range, lunch, raffle tickets, and more. For more information, to register or to serve as a sponsor, send an email to johnny@refinerymission.org or call or text them at 337-692-7988.
ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is your home for the Houston Astros.
And the Astros stun the Mariners.
Hunter Brown, Yordan Alvarez, and the rest of the Astros are looking to get back to the postseason. You can listen to every pitch, hit, and thrilling victory of the Houston Astros. Incredible! As Robert Ford and Steve Sparks will be on the call. Tune in this season for live Astros baseball on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
May is Military Appreciation Month, and ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles and Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service in Carencro will be honoring our military all month long. Nolan's is locally owned and supports our military community every day. We honor and salute because freedom isn't free. May is Military Appreciation Month, and we salute you. Powered by Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service in Carencro and ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles.
ESPN 103.7 KLWB FM and 104.1 KLCJ FM are properties of Delta Media Corporation, Southwest Louisiana's only locally owned and operated premier multimedia company with radio, television, and digital properties. ESPN 103.7 and 104.1 often conducts promotional contests on the air and on our digital platforms to include ESPN SouthwestLouisiana.com and the ESPN Text Club. In order to participate in any contest promotion, you must be at least 18 years of age and reside within the broadcast coverage area of ESPN. Only one winner per household per 30 days. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Winners agree to pay any taxes or fees related to a prize as noted in contest rules. Winners also agree that ESPN Southwest Louisiana has permission to use their name, likeness, portrait, recorded voice, or other biographical material to promote the station and participating sponsors. Employees, family members, and sponsors of ESPN Southwest Louisiana and Delta Media are not eligible to participate in any promotional contest. A complete list of rules can be found online at ESPNSouthwestLouisiana.com or available to view at the main offices of Delta Media Corporation during operating business hours, located at 3501 Northwest Evangeline Thruway, Carencro.
Are your pipes giving you problems? Is that leaky faucet driving you crazy? Don't wait for a plumbing disaster. Call the experts at Ace Plumbing, your trusted local plumbers for over 30 years. At Ace Plumbing, we do it all. Clogged drains, water heater repairs, pipe replacements, and more. With decades of experience, we deliver fast, reliable, and affordable solutions for your home or business.
Ace Plumbing fixed my burst pipe in no time, and the price was great. They're the only plumbers I trust.
From small leaks to big emergencies, Ace Plumbing is just one call away. We're available 24/7 because plumbing problems don't wait. Call Ace Plumbing today at 337-565-2519 or visit us online at aceplumbinginc.com. That's 337-565-2519.
Ace Plumbing, your personal plumber. Let us give you a hand. Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through.
One is known far and wide for his luscious head of hair.
We just wash the hair. You know, I work on my hair a long time.
The other wishes he still had his. Back to more RP3 and Mesh.
And we're wrapping up this edition of RP3 and Mesh by thanking our three guests. Of course, since it's a Wednesday and it's a campus check-in day, we brought on Hunt Palmer, host of the Hunt Palmer Show and contributor for LouisianaSports.net to talk about those LSU Tigers. We brought on Jamarcus Fitzpatrick of KTC and the Ragin' Rundown podcast to talk about those Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. And we just wrapped up our conversation talking with Jim Gazzolo of the Lake Charles American Press, looking at the latest with the McNeese Cowboys and Cowgirls. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to this edition of RP3 Mesh. Before we let you go and turn you over to the Lowdown with D'Lo, let's look at the poll question of the day one last time. What's more frustrating to watch offensively in baseball? Can't give you a result when it comes to the votes, but we've gotten plenty of comments, and a lot of them had said, looking at strike three, backwards K, Jamie had ended up saying on Facebook, swinging at ball four, your job is to get on base. If the pitcher can't throw strikes, then take the free pass. Want to appreciate all of you not only tuning in, but also voting and commenting on our poll question of the day. We'll be back tomorrow from 11 to 1. But until then, we'll turn it over to the illustrious one, Dawson Angelo.
Enforcement Week, and we are proud to salute those who protect and serve our communities every day. Powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac and Delta Media Corp., we will be out delivering cookie trays and sweet treats to local law enforcement agencies as a small thank you for a big job well done. This includes our wildlife and fisheries officers, jailers and corrections officers, probation officers, and all who serve in the law enforcement arena. To every one of you, thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your commitment. We salute you this week and every week.
Every weeknight, MeTV has your laugh therapy.
To chase away the blues or the olive drabs.
With 2 hours of MASH at 5.
This guy's ankle has tickled my funny bone.
Followed by the Andy Griffith Show at 7.
Doggone it, Otis. You're supposed to be hugging me when I'm arresting you.
But he likes you, Bart.
Weeknights on MeTV.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard, aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Some days, self-care starts with Nature-Made gummy vitamins, a deep breath, and a little encouragement.
Mom, I'm really nervous.
Me too, honey, but we've got this. Repeat after me. I'm gonna have a good day.
I'm going to have a good day.
I choose joy no matter what comes my way.
I bring joy wherever I go.
Quality gummy vitamins from Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Karen Crow Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Seattle Mariners crushed the Houston Astros last night, 10-2 to hand the Stros their 4th straight loss. Tetsuya Imai was a victim of the long ball last night, giving up a 2-run homer and a grand slam through only 4 innings of work. The Astros and the Mariners will go again today for Game 3 in Houston, and it'll be Bryce Miller versus Lance McCullers Jr. on the mound. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m., and you can listen to it on ESPN, 103.7 Lafayette, and 104.1 Lake Charles. Around the AL West, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Los Angeles Angels 3-2. The Texas Rangers beat the Diamondbacks 7-4, and the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Athletics 6-4. With those results, the Athletics still sit in first place, with now the Mariners only 1 game behind in second, and Houston still 6 games back in last place. Last night in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs dismantled the Minnesota Timberwolves 126-97 to take a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference semifinals. Victor Wembanyama had a huge night, putting up 27 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now the series will head back to Minnesota on Friday night in an elimination game for the Timberwolves. Then tonight in the Motor City, the Detroit Pistons will host the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The series is all tied up at 2 apiece. Tip-off between Cleveland and Detroit is at 7 p.m. tonight from the Little Caesars Arena. And it was announced yesterday that College Game Day will be heading to Baton Rouge for LSU's season opener against the Clemson Tigers. Kickoff will be on September 5th at 6:30 p.m. in Death Valley. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you. Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the Lowdown with D-Lo on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is the Lowdown, ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette, 104.1 in Lake Charles. Anywhere you are with the ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app, and now as well coming to you live on YouTube here inside the Beal and Abear studios in Upper Lafayette. I am Dawson Iserloh with you for the next 2 hours. We've got a lot to talk about on a Wednesday. It is my last show of the week. It's not the station's last day, but my last show of the week because of the Astros tomorrow. I'll be out on Friday. So We'll get to a lot. We'll preview some of the weekend stuff. We've already done a lot of talking about UL and Coastal on the baseball side of things. We might talk a little bit more about that, but I'm glad we had a chance yesterday to really fully dive into that matchup because I think it's going to be awesome at the Teague this weekend. Unfortunately for me, the way my schedule worked out, I'm going to have to watch those games from afar. Would have loved to be there in attendance, but it's not going to work for me. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. We've got some things with softball. Obviously, regionals are going on starting on Friday, so I will discuss that a little bit further. I also wrote a column that just came out on ESPN SouthwestLouisiana.com, so I will reference that a little bit, and obviously you can go check it out if you'd like. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show today. We do have 3 guests lined up for you. We'll start it out. It is a symmetrical day. That means we'll have a guest every 30 minutes. Chris Fissaro joins us first up at 1:30. Chris works with the PGA Championship and has done so for a number of years now. I want to go behind the scenes a little bit because, I've gotten a chance to talk to him about it, but I think it's actually pretty interesting because I get asked all the time about what Chris does because he's done this for a while now and how much goes into putting on a major championship golf tournament like this. And he's not even on the playing side of it, right? He's on the hospitality side and more about the fan experience. It's crazy. I mean, he's been working on this tournament for 2 years now. He's been living in Philly right near the golf course for the better part of 2 years. That's how big these tournaments are. So I want to talk to him about what goes into it from that perspective. And then obviously for the playing side of it, Chris has extra knowledge of the golf course. He's been in and around it. He's seen the players come and go, play in their practice rounds, things of that nature. So we will talk to him about the golf tournament as well. But we'll do a little bit of both with Chris coming up at the bottom of hour number 1. Zach Nagy joins us at the top of hour number 2. As always on Wednesdays, he'll talk about LSU with us. Of course, we'll get into the Lane Kiffin stuff that never seems to end, and we'll get updates on everything else happening. Obviously, LSU baseball looks like they're up against it. We'll see what he thinks about the last series and then headed into the SEC tournament with them. LSU softball, interestingly enough, we haven't talked a ton about their matchup, but they've got their regional getting going, and they're playing at home. They're going to be the favorites, although Virginia Tech is a very valiant 2 seed that they certainly have to be weary of, and they get Akron as well in that regional. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But Zach joins us at the top of hour number 2. Then at the bottom of the second hour, Chasten Tavares. We'll go west to Lake Charles. We'll talk everything about McNeese because they have a couple relevant things going on this week. Obviously, their softball team is in a regional. They're in College Station. They face Arizona State in their first game, but Texas A&M is the host team over there. I think UConn's the 4 seed. So we'll talk to Chasten about that. And the McNeese baseball team begins the Southland Conference baseball tournament tomorrow. They are in the Hammond pod, 4 teams over there. They get Nichols in the first game. Southeastern is the favorite in that pod. So we'll talk to him about what they need to do to maybe make a little bit of a run. And why not? Chasten and I will rant about our baseball teams. The Astros and Red Sox are both terrible. So I don't know if it's going to be a productive segment when we talk about the Astros and the Red Sox, but we'll get some steam off. It's healthy, right? That's like going to therapy. Sometimes I try to take Kevin Foote to therapy by bringing him on my show, and it doesn't always work. All that being said, a lot more to get to. We've got a couple other local sports stories I want to shout out at some point today. So we'll have some fun. We'll hang out here on a Wednesday afternoon. I am going to start the show today, though. Not something I expected to do. Many of you will have noticed I have not been doing my Locked In segment. Locked In's how I should start the show every day. It's, what I was mainly watching the day before or what I plan to watch, right, if it's a weekend, going ahead a little bit. I have not spent many Locked In segments on the Astros this year because generally I like to talk about things that I enjoy. And right now it's not a whole lot of fun to watch the Astros night in, night out. But Kevin Foote yesterday described last night's game as the biggest May baseball game in the history of the franchise. Astros have been playing baseball for a long time. So I was like, you know what? If Kevin thinks it's that important, let's get locked in. Let's sit down, take some note. We'll do the whole thing because the game was that big a deal to him. Didn't go how he wanted it to go, but we'll start there. Let's talk about the Astros and get locked in.
D'Lo is the kind of guy that stays locked in. On what? Well, that depends on the night. But you can guarantee there was some sporting event that he found interesting. It's time to find out what D'Lo was locked in on The Lowdown.
So, hey, it's Astros Mariners. It's a little midweek Daikin Park baseball. Tatsuya Imai is getting the ball. That's why Kevin thought it was the biggest game in recent history in May, because of how much the Astros invested to go sign this guy out of Japan. It was Dana Brown's big offseason move. They loved the stuff. They thought this was going to be great. If you've been following along already, Imai got signed out of Japan. He came over. He got ramped up. He started the season, did not look good. He had one good outing mixed in there. It was like his second outing. It was pretty good. Other than that, it was a disaster. He made some comments about not adjusting to American life very well. He made some comments about, the way that the team eats dinner, not matching what he used to do in Japan and like where. And it was kind of weird stuff where you're like, does that really matter? Then some other stuff where, again, he's speaking through a translator. So some people were like, well, no, it's kind of like the message got misconstrued of what he was actually trying to say. He wasn't really saying what you think he was saying. So you're like, all right, whatever. He got hurt. He went down to the minor leagues. He did not pitch great in the minor leagues. So I don't know if any of us were like, oh, he's going to come back and all of a sudden be awesome. But hey, we were leaving our hopes up. And so that was why Kevin thought it was such an important game, because the Astros, of course, have had all the other injury issues, and he is skeptical right now of Dana Brown as the GM, and this was a Dana Brown move. This was Dana's big guy he went and got in the offseason. So what can he do against the Mariners, division rival? Obviously, the team that the Astros have, kind of been in a little bit of a division rivalry battle with the last few years as they've kind of passed up Texas a little bit. So you get all these factors going in, and I settled in to watch this game last night. And I'll tell you what, first inning, Imai looked all right. I was like, all right, here we go. I mean, the stuff's there. You can see the stuff's there. He throws 95, 96. He's got a wipeout slider. The problem is he has had no confidence in any secondary pitches besides his slider. His changeup and his splitter, he doesn't want to throw at all. And so he didn't throw him at all, I don't think, in the first couple innings of this game. So whatever, he gets a 1-2-3 first, couple softly hit baseballs, one strikeout. You're like, hey, that's a great start. And it was. Astros don't get anything offensively. They had 3 strikeouts in the inning. By the way, Dylan Wu pitching for Seattle, he's good. The Mariners starting rotation, which we've already known is going to be really good, it stayed that way. Top of the second inning, he walks Cal Raleigh, and Randy Arozarena hits a no-doubt 2-run homer. And it was, and they said, so I saw a stat that said the pitch track said he didn't throw any changeups in the first couple innings. So I guess it was a slider that just backed up on him, but it looked like a changeup to me. And it was a terrible pitch. It was right in the middle, lower third of the zone. And Arozarena just deposited into the Crawford boxes. And by the way, I'm not going to be get off my lawn guy. If anyone watched this game last night, Arozarena, we've got enough skits on him running the bases, right? He did a little rock, paper, scissors jaunt with the first base coach. He's doing his slow trot. Then he gets to third base. He's got like a choreographed dance routine with the third base coach. I don't want to say, hey, just round the bases and get back in the dugout, but like I was feeling it, okay? I was feeling it. A little bias factored in there as well. Like, okay, you want to do your little point to the sky, your little, sledgehammer celebration, whatever you got, do it. But I thought it was a little excessive. That's just me. It's a division rivalry. I get it. He gets out of the second inning, though, even though there was a couple hard hit balls the rest of the inning. I'm like, all right, hey, you know what? That's okay. Astros actually got a run back. Shout out to Braden Shoemake, who continues to be this just kind of randomly productive hitter for them, at least to this point in the season. So shout out to him. And then in the third inning, he gave up some hard contact, but he got a double play ball that helped him out, and he got out of the inning as well. So you're like, oh, he's here. Imai looks comfortable-ish. I do still think, he could be a little better. But in that third inning, something happened that's worth pointing out to me. And it was what, to me, was way more troubling than any of the other stuff, even any of the home runs given up and all that. Imai, who it's not like he's one of those guys. Sometimes they'll grab like a basketball band and they'll bring him over to the U.S. and he'll play on like some mid-major college basketball team, and you'll watch him play and they're like, hey, he just learned the rules of basketball like last year, so give him a break. That's not what Imai is, okay? He's been pitching in Japan a long time. The guy's been playing baseball a very, very long time. This is not some project, hey, we just need to teach him what the rules are. No, he's supposed to know all that stuff, okay? They play baseball in Japan with the same rules they play here in the U.S. I've watched the Japanese professional league before, okay? It's not like it's Canadian football and they've got goalposts on the goal line, all right? It's the same game. He got set in the stretch. Josh Naylor, not the fastest guy in the big leagues. He's kind of built like a bowling ball, if you've ever seen him. Josh Naylor was like, he's not even paying attention to me. He took off when Imai was still set in the stretch. He took off. He took 7 or 8 steps. Now, I will repeat this story when Chaston comes on because I want him to hear it as well. I'm not sure he's listening at the moment. He's been very busy. When I was 9 years old and I began kid pitch, I don't know if it was the first thing that I was taught, but it was very close. thereafter. If you're in the stretch and there's a runner on first and everyone yells step off, chances are either A, miscommunication with your catcher, whatever, or a runner is running somewhere. So you need to step off and figure it out. Not only did Imai not step off, he just let him run to second, and then he started his motion when Naylor was 3/4 of the way to second base. This was like a little league play. I've never seen a big leaguer do this in my entire life. We had a play earlier this year when I was in Hammond for UL Southeastern Baseball. There was like a brain fart type of thing where the Southeastern pitcher went from the windup with a runner on first, and so UL just stole the bag easily for free. That is actually more forgivable because at least in that situation, you just kind of forgot in the moment that the runner was on first. Imai knew the runner was there and still had no way to rectify his mistake. He completely froze up and just threw the pitch instead. So, all that being said, they got out the third inning, and I was like, hey, that's maybe going to be a very ugly footnote. See what I did there, footnote, to this outing. And then the fourth inning happened, and he gave up a grand slam, and it was a mess after that. They got him through 4 innings, thankfully, just to try to save the Astros bullpen a little bit. But I do now, I will give you some of the doom and gloom response here. That was really bad, what I saw last night. And so, like I said, if he'd had just given up the poorly timed grand slam, that'd be one thing. If he had just given up the 2-run shot to Rosarena, but then also just the lack of awareness, he looks like a deer in the headlights. He really does. And so I feel for him. I feel for him as well because I can understand how difficult it is. And he gets, he was getting courted in free agency. Now, look, the Astros are not the only team that wanted this guy is the other thing I'd bring up, This was one of the top international prospects available last offseason. So Dana Brown's not the only guy who thought this guy could be a good big league arm. But what I do think the Astros maybe grossly underestimated is what it was going to take to get him big league ready. And I don't know how the contract was structured. I know the major leagues have some weird rules about that with the international player thing, and maybe they didn't have any choice. But he probably should have started the season pitching for Sugarland. He probably should have started the season pitching for Sugarland and them try and get him acclimated, get him comfortable, and work his way to the big league team maybe in July, or something like that. But that's not what happened, and the disaster is unfolding in front of our eyes with a team that desperately needs him now, and that's the problem. The only other healthy guy in that opening day rotation, as we mentioned, is Lance McCullers, who pitches tonight, and his ERA 7.5, and he blew his finger up last start. So, sheesh, rough day. If it is the biggest May game in the history of the franchise, then it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best. They lost 10-2, by the way. Mariners added on. And the Astros offense that for a while, remember, was scoring the most runs in baseball, it's not doing that anymore. So you couple that with what is still the worst pitching staff in baseball, and, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. Remember, I used to do that segment when I first got on with RP3, when I was still just his producer, like how basically how in trouble is this team? We did it on a 1 to 10 scale. The Astros would be in the 9s right now. I think they'd be in the 9s. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll switch gears. We'll give a couple shout-outs to some local stuff that's going on. LSU baseball got it done again. We'll tell you about that. We'll also take a look at this column I wrote. That's ESPN Southwest Louisiana. We'll be back on the Lowdown just a bit. Stay with us.
This is the Lowdown with D-Lo, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
May is Military Appreciation Month here at ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles, along with Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service off I-49 in Karen Crow. We are honoring our military all month long. Nolan's owner Stacy and Don Benoit would like to take this opportunity to recognize all of our current service members, veterans, and families. Nolan's takes pride in recognition of all military as well as first responders with special discounts on their zero-turn mowers. May is Military Appreciation Month, and we salute you. Powered by Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service and ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
Do you need more of the fellas here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station? Of course you do. So go make sure and subscribe to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles YouTube channel at ESPN_SWLA. Don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notifications for new episodes of Four Tire Change Podcast, where Dawson Iserlo talks all things NASCAR, or Cleats and Sneaks with James Mesh. Get yourself more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station at ESPN_SWLA on YouTube.
It's May, and spring is finally here, a time of growth, renewal, and hope. And what better time to kick off Mental Health Awareness Month? Johnwell Therapeutic Services are proud to highlight May as National Mental Health Month. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. Reach out to a friend, family member, or professional if you need support. It's okay to take things one step at a time. You're not alone. Johnwell Therapeutic Services, proud supporters of National Mental Health Month.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3-gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
Hello, Acadiana. Cajun Carts is your #1 full-service dealer for new, used, and custom golf carts. Perfect for on the job site, the neighborhood, or even out on the green. We are the only authorized dealer of American-made E-Z-GO and Club Car here in Acadiana. For all your service, sales, and mechanical repairs, we got you. So don't wait. Roll on over to CajunCarts.com or stop by our Lafayette location by the Jockey Lot and see why we've been Louisiana's golf cart headquarters since 2003. Cajun Carts. Why walk when you can ride?
Ready to transform your backyard into the summer paradise you've always dreamed of? With Duplessis Builders custom gunite pool packages, we make it simple to own a stunning, long-lasting, in-ground pool built just for you. Choose from classic designs, all customizable to fit your space, style, and budget. Our pools come with quality finishes, energy-efficient equipment, beautiful lighting, and professional installation from excavation to decking so you can dive in before the next heat wave hits. Don't just dream it, build it. Visit DuplessisBuilders.net.
Black's Outdoor and Marine is Acadiana's Spartan Mower headquarters. Spartan Mowers delivering more mowing power and performance. Black's has commercial and residential Spartan mowers with Kawasaki motors in stock now and ready to cut. Black's also has parts, service, and financing available. Call 337-233-4272. That's 337-233-4272 or stop by 1423 Northwest Evangeline Thruway in Lafayette. Black's Outdoor and Marine serving Acadiana since 1968.
This is ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, broadcasting live from the Beal and Hebert studios in Upper Lafayette. Beal and Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Back to more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Okay, I mentioned that I wanted to talk about a couple of local storylines for some sports that we don't, usually spend a ton of time on the show on. The LSU Bengals baseball team, it's, one of the most historic junior college programs now in the country based on what Jeff Willis has built over there. They got the new stadium rocking and rolling, and they won the Region 23 tournament title once again. I have once called a Region 23 tournament title. It's a fun tournament. And you know what else is fun about it? That was maybe 3 years ago at this point. There's still a lot of guys that I remember calling in that tournament that are bouncing around college programs at the D1 level now. I remember Mo Little, who is a player who was on one of the other teams, not on LSU's roster, played for, I think, like East Central Community College. He's still playing on the Division I baseball roster right now. A ton of the guys from LSU are as well. So, it's like that. It's really high-level baseball, obviously, and a lot of these guys are going to go on to have really solid careers, but regardless, it's good competition. And this one was over at Signet Field in the New Orleans area. That's actually on the West Bank. I'm quite familiar with Signet Field. I only played on that stadium one time ever. It was we did Jefferson Parish versus Orleans Parish All-Star game after my senior year of baseball. That was a pretty cool experience. So that's the only time I ever played there, but I'm quite familiar with it. I'm also quite familiar with Delgado as a program. I used to play in a fall bat league, a fall wooden bat league at Delgado every offseason when I was in high school as well. And so to see like those two programs too, what Delgado's done, what LSUE has done. I know for a long time LSUE was actually playing in the the division below Delgado, but they play them during the regular season. Now it's awesome. I think we get matchups like this. And so in the championship, it was a winner-take-all game. And LSUE, now with a record of 44-10, beat Delgado 5-3 to win the LCC AC and Region 23 tournament. They had a couple of big days. McCrae Jacobs was outstanding for them, and they found a way. They had a 4-0 lead. They had to bounce back because Delgado cut into it, and ultimately they were able to hold things off and get the go-ahead runner at the plate, or avoid allowing the go-ahead runner who was at the plate to come around to score with Aiden Mouton getting a strikeout. So LSUE now plays and hosts the South District Championship Series at Bengal Stadium. They'll get Shelton State in a best-of-3 that begins tomorrow, 7 o'clock at LSUE. They'll play again on Friday night at 7 o'clock. They'll play Saturday at 2 p.m. if necessary. Winner of that one, I believe, heads straight to the Junior College World Series. So shout out to LSUE, Jeff Willis and company. They have, talk about dynasties. If the Astros dynasty's fading, LSUE's trying to make sure theirs does not. They are back in the mix in the postseason. We'll see what they can do against Shelton State starting tomorrow night. The other thing I mentioned that I wanted to allude to here, I do have a column up. And if you want to check it out, it's free to read as always. I've been thinking a lot about UL softball since I watched the conference tournament at their place, watched them go down in that second game to UL Monroe, watched the rest of the tournament happen without the Cajuns being a part of it, which certainly felt weird, especially given it was on their home field. And I just had a lot of different thoughts about where this program's at, what Coach Habits, the hand she was dealt, what she's done with it so far, and what I think is still possible here. And maybe the mix and the disconnect between the perception of what's happened and what really has, you know? And so I'm not going to tell you, like, the column definitely comes from a place of some bias, but in a lot of ways I think it's a good bias because I've been around this program more than the average person. So I've kind of gotten to see and know a few things. I don't think I'm going to be giving away any secrets in this thing, but I don't think the outlook is maybe as bad as the average person does. I think Cajun softball has a lot of reason to be hopeful and a lot of reason to try and return. And I think there's a lot of maybe misconceptions about the reasons that they've struggled in the last 2 years. So I try to lay those out for you, and it's all in there. It's ESPN SouthwestLouisiana.com. The column's called Don't Write the Program Obituary for UL Softball Just Yet. And I firmly believe that. I think there's time for this thing to get fixed. And I think Coach Habits has a great opportunity to get things rolling in the right direction. So check that out if you don't mind. ESPN SouthwestLouisiana.com. As I mentioned, as always, all the content on our website, 100% free, no paywalls, no free trials necessary, none of that stuff. You click onto it, and you'll be able to read every article without interruption. So with all that being said, as I mentioned, and the lead into the column is that regionals are going to start this weekend, and the Cajuns are not going to be a part of them. But there are some Louisiana teams represented. LSU will get things going. As we mentioned yesterday, them and McNeese both have regional opportunities. We'll see if there's anybody representing the state. Southeastern Louisiana as well is in there. We'll see if anybody can make a run at it and try and give a representative to the state of Louisiana in Oklahoma City this year. We will see if that comes to be. All right, we'll take a timeout now. When we come back, as I mentioned before, my friend Chris Fissaro is going to join us. He works with the PGA Championship. He is in Philadelphia. He has been in Philly for the last 2 years preparing for this event. So we'll talk to him about what goes into it, and we'll certainly get a little preview of the course and of the field and everything to expect this weekend with the second major championship of the golf season. All that coming up. It's the Lowdown.
This is the Lowdown with D-Lo. Live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
We've, of course, been telling you about our friends at Small Sliders and everything that they have going for you with their two locations here in the area, one on Ambassador Caffrey, the other on Bertrand Drive. I want to also let you know, if you're ready to become a frequent slider, you can download the Small Sliders app. You earn rewards every time you slide through. You're craving a quick combo, feeding the whole squad, whatever you're doing, order ahead, skip the line, and stack up those points, which you can convert into free sliders, fries, and more. It's fast, it's easy. Join today and make every order count at smallsliders.com and on the Small Sliders app.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Seattle Mariners crushed the Houston Astros last night, 10-2 to hand the Stros their fourth straight loss. Tetsuya Imai was a victim of the long ball last night, giving up a 2-run homer and a grand slam through only 4 innings of work. The Astros and the Mariners will go again today for Game 3 in Houston, and it'll be Bryce Miller versus Lance McCullers Jr. on the mound. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m., and you can listen to it on ESPN, 103.7 Lafayette, and 104.1 Lake Charles. Around the AL West, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Los Angeles Angels 3-2. The Texas Rangers beat the Diamondbacks 7-4, and the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Athletics 6-4. With those results, the Athletics still sit in first place, with now the Mariners only one game behind in second, and Houston still 6 games back in last place. Last night in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs dismantled the Minnesota Timberwolves 126-97 to take a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference semifinals. Victor Wembanyama had a huge night, putting up 27 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now the series will head back to Minnesota on Friday night in an elimination game for the Timberwolves. Then tonight in the Motor City, the Detroit Pistons will host the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The series is all tied up at 2 apiece. Tip-off between Cleveland and Detroit is at 7 p.m. tonight from the Little Caesars Arena. And it was announced yesterday that College Game Day will be heading to Baton Rouge for LSU's season opener against the Clemson Tigers. Kickoff will be on September 5th at 6:30 p.m. in Death Valley. I'm Blake Persher, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Attention first responders, police officers, firefighters, military and former military personnel. If you have an acre or more of grass to cut, Skag Zero Turn Mowers would like to thank you by offering you a special discount with their Simply the Brave First Responders program. Save big money on the industry's top-rated zero-turn mower at Nolan's Lawnmower in Carencro. Nolan's can offer well-qualified buyers 0% financing for 48 months. Come by Nolan's Lawnmower at 3547 Northwest Evangeline Thruway and check out the full line of Skag zero-turn lawnmowers.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate a lower tax bill. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts. But you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will fight for you using industry secrets that can stop any IRS actions, eliminate penalties and interest, and reduce your past tax bill so you pay the IRS less. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor now for a free IRS audit emergency review. 800-281-0266, 800-281-0266, 800-281-0266, 800-281-0266.
Do yourself a favor and download the free ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app, powered by Moss Motors BMW for your Android or Apple devices. Download the app by searching ESPN 103.7 Lafayette or ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. It's just that easy to take Southwest Louisiana's sports station with you wherever you go.
We return here on the Lowdown. A Wednesday edition of the show rolls on. And our friend Chris Fusaro joins us from Philadelphia and Aronimink Golf Club, the host of the PGA Championship 2026. Chris, what's up, man?
What's going on, Dawson? How are we?
I'm tremendous. I'm excited, obviously, because I'm going to be headed over there tomorrow. But I get asked about it a lot. Like, your job has been unique the last, handful of years where you're in a spot for 2 years, and there's 2 years worth of planning that goes into this tournament for you and for a lot of the team over there. So just talk to me about what that is. And obviously your side of it being on the hospitality, there's obviously the golf side of it as well. But why is it that this is a tournament that takes 2 years worth of planning?
Yeah, and really all in all, it's about a decade's worth of work from the time that a agreement is signed between a host club and the PGA of America. And then, the real planning is 2 to 3 years out in terms of beginning that process. But really what it comes down to is, being an event that is held every year but never in the same spot. And we have to get into the market very quickly and figure out, okay, who are the key players? Who do we need to know? Local jurisdictions, townships up here, not cities, but townships. Be careful with how you word that to the locals. But you have to really get into the market and figure out, okay, how are we going to host an event that's going to have 200,000 people over the course of the week in a place that we're not familiar with in a temporary environment? So it really starts with all that, and then we start our sales process about 2 years ago for hospitality across the course. We start with our larger packages and then work our way down to our daily individual packages. So that process takes a while in terms of working with local business leaders and constituents and trying to get them to participate in the event from a business and monetary standpoint. And then in terms of the golf side, site visits really start about 3 years out from our competitions committee and our chief championships officer really put boots on the ground and begin making recommendations to the club in terms of how they want the golf course to look and to maybe be set up when the time the event rolls around. But this event has been unique in a way of that the agreement was originally signed for 2027 for this to be the 2027 PGA Championship at Aronimink, but with this year's semi-quincentennial birthday of our country, the 250th, it was moved up to match that in 2026. So here we are.
It is awesome. And I think you mentioned a few things, too, that people probably just don't think about on the surface level. The idea of this being a one-time event as well. So you're thinking all this preparation, all this stuff goes into it. And, at a place like Augusta National, they're hosting it every year. So they get a pretty good rhythm and routine to it. You guys and the U.S. Open and the Open Championship are in this boat as well. They're putting this stuff in a new venue every single year. And the amount of manpower it takes and the amount of, just planning that goes into a tournament that big that then gets one shot at it, right? And if you guys over at Aronimink don't put on a good show, there's no, well, we'll get it next year. It's, well, we're on to Frisco next year. So that's got to add some pressure for you all as well.
For sure. And, we have to deliver, to our host club, to Aronimink, to its members, to people locally that we've been, here for 2 years trying to get to know and build relationships with and live up to this promise that we set forth with of staging a world-class golf event. And I think that's, at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do. Not trying to make any headlines, just trying to get into town, do our jobs, put on a great event for everybody who wants to enjoy it, and on for the PGA of America to Frisco next year.
All right, man, let's talk about this golf course, Aronimink. I know, you've gotten a chance to know the facility quite well, working there for a couple of years now. What is the vibe of this place? What does the course just generally kind of look and feel like? And what can we expect when the tournament gets rolling tomorrow?
Yeah, I think the best way to describe it from my vantage point is traditional old school Northeast golf. Very, very thick rough in spots and some green complexes that will challenge the best players. It's a long golf course for me, but it is not for these guys. But I do think it makes guys think in terms of approach shots. Or Rory did say it is a bomb and gouge, but for these guys, it is bomb it, and then they'll kind of figure it out from there. But I think from the day I stepped foot on the property here, the thing that stood out the most was the greens. That is the defense of this golf course. And I think combine that with thick rough, with an approach shot, with a short iron in your hand, that's where the difficulty lies. I think, guys, the fairways are wide. There's one cut of rough. There's no first cut. So guys will hit a lot of fairways here, but it's about what do you do next? And there's very unpinnable spots on greens, I would call it. So there's very limited places where our competitions committee and team can put pins. And I think that bodes a challenge for the best players in the world, and the fact that if there aren't many spots on a green where you can put a pin, it presents a great test for them.
We've also heard, with the players showing up and doing interviews early this week, Chris, about the idea of how different this place is if it's firm versus if it's soft. If you could add a little bit to that, and then, what are we expecting as far as rain, water, and whether or not this is going to be firm, soft, or somewhere in the middle throughout the week?
Yeah, I think it'll lean on the firmer side. It's going to rain a little bit overnight here, and then we'll kind of see what that looks like in the morning. But I think overall the testament from players is that they've been surprised how firm and fast it's been, in a good surprise way. I think it's not to the state of unfair that a player would classify it as, but I think very fair, but on the firm side. So, from my point of view as a golf fan, I hope it stays in sort of the condition it is right now, because how it's being presented to players and fans on site and those tuning in to Golf Channel watching some live from coverage, it looks great, and I think it will be a good test.
Chris Fusaro is our guest with the PGA Championship. He's joining us live from the grounds over at Aronimink, which is going to get rolling tomorrow morning. Practice rounds and such happening today. The buzz, man. I mean, tell me about the buzz over there. I know yesterday everybody's up in arms because Rory has a little foot blister going on, and he decided not to finish his practice round, so that's a concern. But just what's the general buzz as everybody started to arrive and get prepped up for this event?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of good buzz. I think a lot of good buzz has come from the golf course. And then I think, not in off the beaten path story, because it still is a big story, but, the fact that Jordan Spieth can complete the Grand Slam every time he shows up to a PGA Championship is always a story. It's not quite the story of Rory trying to get a Masters or Phil Mickelson trying to get a U.S. Open. Not quite to that magnitude, but that headline always looms. I think Cameron Young playing the best golf of his career coming into a major championship is a great storyline to watch out for. I think, him, Scotty, and Rory have sort of separated themselves as the top tier of golf for right now. We'll obviously see how that evolves for the rest of the year, but I think Cam is playing great golf, and he has a great chance this week. And I think outside of that, it's, with the movement and shaking in the world of golf with Liv's possible demise here at the end of the year, it's, how are those guys going to play? What is their mental makeup like right now? Are they locked in, or are they thinking about other things? John Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau obviously are the two of the most talented players in the world, but outside of Bryson's win at Pinehurst 2 years ago, they haven't really performed well in majors. And since they've both made the jump, and outside of Bryson's second, it's all out of 24. I do have to give some credit for that. But, they haven't played up to their standard of major championship golf since they've made the jump to Live. So interested to see those two storylines. And it's, who can kind of come out of nowhere, of guys maybe not on the radar of who are very talented, such as a Cameron Smith, who has had success in the past, who's sort of lost their game on Live. So I think that's a big storyline is those 11 Live players in the field.
Aside from the golf stuff, Chris, just because it's time relevant, man, you are a Steelers fan. That is not related to your time in Philly. That is long before that. And obviously, there's a bit of another team in Philly that maybe grabs some NFL headlines. What do you make? Our Saints are going to face your Steelers in Paris, man. That's something.
Yeah, did come across that. We might get a great quarterback matchup of
Aaron Rodgers,
Tyler Shuck against Will Howard. So
what's the Rodgers deal, man? Now he's coming back, but he's not coming back. What's going on?
I guess he wasn't there. We'll see. We'll see what was legit and what's not. But yeah, could be rolling out Will Howard to the Paris natives. They can see what the former Buckeye is all about.
National champion Will Howard, don't forget it. All right.
Hey.
Chris, appreciate your time, man. I know it's a hectic week for you, so thank you for doing this, man, and I'm sure you and your team's going to put on a great show.
Of course, man. Thanks, Dawson. Excited for you to get here.
That's our guy, Chris Fusaro, working with the PGA Championship, as I mentioned, and it really is cool. Like I've seen Chris do it before. The number of hours that this guy puts in a week like this one, and really the whole team over there, it is crazy. It's a hectic, chaotic week for them. The last time he was a part of one was in Louisville. We had him on for that. Obviously, there was a whole bunch of storylines that came out of that. Xander Schauffele won it. Scotty Scheffler may or may not have been arrested at some point during that tournament. So it was a lot of fun. And I look forward to this tournament being that as well. All right, we will take it. Oh, and by the way, with the PGA Championship, wanted to mention this. We'll have coverage of that on our website on Thursday and Sunday, first round, last round. So we'll keep you up to date there if you don't get a chance to watch it throughout the weekend. We will take a timeout. I do have Southland Conference honors for baseball on my desk now. We've gotten some awards. McNeese has a few representatives, so we'll tell you who took home some Southland honors. And I also have, this is a good poll question of the day. Shout out to, I think it's BP and Foot who kind of tag teamed to create this idea. This is a good question, and I've put some thought into it. I think I have my final answer, and I think I'm ready to unveil it to you to close the first hour as well. So stick here, stay tuned. That's two different phrases I mixed there. This is the Lowdown.
This is the Lowdown with D-Lo, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The Refinery Mission in Opelousas is an organization that provides emergency and transitional housing, addiction recovery, and reentry services for men. The Refinery Classic Golf Tournament is Monday, May the 18th. Remember, that's just 5 days away. So it's over at Farm Alley Golf Club in Karen Crow. The money raised from the event will benefit the nonprofit organization that's been helping men struggling with addiction and homelessness for more than 3 decades. The cost for a 3-man team is $400, which includes unlimited driving range, lunch, raffle tickets, and much more. For more information, if you want to register or serve as a sponsor, send an email to Johnny. It's JOHNNY@refinerymission.org. You can call or text him at 337-692-7988. That's 337-692-7988.
ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is your home for the Houston Astros.
The Astros stun the Mariners.
Hunter Brown, Yordan Alvarez, and the rest of the Astros are looking to get back to the postseason. You can listen to every pitch, hit, and thrilling victory of the Houston Astros.
Incredible!
As Robert Ford and Steve Sparks will be on the call. Tune in this season for live Astros baseball on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
May is Military Appreciation Month, and ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles and Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service in Karen Crow will be honoring our military all month long. Nolan's is locally owned and supports our military community every day. We honor and salute because freedom isn't free. May is Military Appreciation Month, and we salute you. Powered by Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service in Karen Crow and ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles.
Looking for a great midweek treat? Come to Mezcal Mexican Restaurant every Wednesday and Thursday and enjoy their sizzling fajita special. $13.99 plus tax all day long. Don't forget all day 2-for-1 margaritas. Are you planning a large party? Let Mezcal handle it. Call 337-484-3298 and Mezcal will take care of everything. That's a fajita special, $13.99 plus tax all day Wednesday and Thursday at Mezcal Mexican Restaurant, 3546 Ambassador Caffrey, next to Rooms to Go. Come taste the flavor of Mezcal.
Need peace of mind with your estate planning? Turn to Beal & Hebert, your trusted hometown lawyers. At Beal & Hebert, we make estate planning simple and stress-free, ensuring your legacy is secure and your future is in the right hands. Don't wait. Schedule your consultation today at BealHebert.com. That's BealHebert.com. Safeguarding your tomorrow today.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one #1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go
the winner. Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me. Watch Me TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
The biggest headlines in the world of sports are discussed here. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
All right, we are back here on the Lowdown. Wednesday edition of the show rolls on. It is an interesting day with everything going on right now. I mentioned some Southland Conference honors, so I have those in front of me. So the Southland just unveiled their baseball all-conference teams. I'll have a blog about this up on the website in just a little bit. Eric Knoxtime won Southland Relief Pitcher of the Year. He was also a first-team All-Southland Conference selection. Danny Barbero, an outfielder, joined him as a first-team honoree. Then Connor Walker at catcher and Isaiah Keller at left field both made the SLC All-Defensive Team. So Knoxtime had an unbelievable year. I was just looking through some of the numbers. He had more than double the number of strikeouts of any other pitcher on this staff. He had 116 of them. They used him as a starter 7 times. They used him out of the bullpen 10 times. He's been awesome for them, and obviously you figure with these conference tournament games coming up, it's going to be very important as well to see what they can get out of this pitching staff that really has done a nice job. Team ERA of 4.49. They've kept them in the fight, and they've got a date with Nichols coming up tomorrow to start things off, and who knows? You know, once they get this thing rolling, we saw what the softball team did once they had the opportunity. We will see if baseball has that as well. So Knoxtime, Barbero, Keller, and Walker all get some honors for the Southland Conference. I alluded to it there with Chris, who is a Steelers fan, so I had to mess with him about that. But there really is, that is a finalized thing. The Saints are going to play the Steelers in Paris. It was rumored to be the Browns a long time ago, and apparently that was a fake rumor. But it is going to be the Steelers. Supposedly the Packers were also in the mix, but it ultimately lands on Pittsburgh, which I don't have any problem with. That's fun. Although I do like when Pittsburgh comes to the Dome, that's always fun. I remember the last time they played there was that crazy game with Roethlisberger and company where the Saints were positioning themselves trying to get seeding late in the season, and it came down to the wire. Saints were lucky to win that game. The fumble, there was a fumble late in that one. I remember that helped them get it. I'm no Kevin Foote with my my Saints memory, but I can pull one out every now and again. But that is finalized as of now. We'll see the rest of the schedule come out tomorrow, and we'll find out when and where the Saints are going throughout the season. So that should be pretty cool. I did see a stat today as well. I wish I don't have it on me who put it out, but the number of miles every team's going to fly was tracked out. Panthers are going to fly the least in the NFL this year, less than 10,000. I think they're the only team who's going to fly less than 10,000 miles. Saints had the 11th most on that list, but again, that's a little skewed because the trip to Paris is extremely long. But with every team, essentially, or a lot of teams having international trips, that stuff has to be factored in. So it was surprising, though, to see Carolina as the lowest because you'd think as a coast team, if they have to go to the West Coast one time, that runs that number up. You'd think a centralized team would have the least, but I guess they got a break and they don't have to travel to any of the West Coast teams this year or a limited number of them. And so that's allowing them to have the least air miles. I don't know how they calculated all that. I'm assuming they're right, though, and I'm rolling with it. So Saints had the 11th most. But they do have projected, we're expecting to see the bottom 3 in the league in strength of schedule for the Saints, which, as always, I think is a little silly to do this time of year because we don't know how good these teams are truly going to be. But it means, if you go based off last year, the Saints aren't playing a ton of powerhouse teams, and that's been the case for a couple of years now. We'll see. Some point they should be poised to take advantage of it, and maybe this is the year that they are poised to do it. Okay, the poll question of the day is a good one. I mentioned that before. I can't really give you updated results because Twitter's still broken. But what I can do is break down my thoughts on this poll because I like this type of hypothetical here. We are asking you, as a baseball fan, what's the most frustrating thing to watch on the offensive side of the ball? The answer choices are swinging at ball 4, hitting into a double play, a strikeout looking, or being caught stealing or picked off. There's 4 different ways. So I'm very much a value proposition guy. Unfortunately, I was born with a numbers-based brain, and sometimes I can't shut it off. Sometimes it's a very good thing. Sometimes maybe not so much. My wife jokes with me, like I take every decision very seriously about the value provided in it. And a lot of times that's a financial thing, a cost thing, but sometimes I just overthink every given situation because I'm constantly thinking to myself, well, what am I going to get the most value out of? So that's how I applied my line of thinking to this conversation. Swinging at ball 4, here's the problem. Binary, getting to first base via a walk is a binary result, right? It's a 1 or a 0, whether you get it or you don't. If you swing at ball 4, assuming the umpire doesn't make a bad call, you are forfeiting a binary result that was given to you. You were going to receive first base, and now you're not getting it because you chased a pitch you shouldn't have chased. So that one for me immediately goes to the top of the board. Hitting into a double play is tough for me to swallow because that is actually a binary result that is a negative net 2. You are going to be responsible for 2 outs on this play. We had something going in this inning. We had a runner on first potentially or a runner wherever with a double play, right? And we had less than 2 outs. And you did something offensively that led to you getting 2 negative results. But here's where I start to go, all right, but let's have some situational thinking go into this as well. I'm talking about what's frustrating for me. So I think about it from a standpoint of like what I could have done in that situation, or maybe not like what I physically me, but like what the average player could have done in that situation. If you hit into a double play, usually you hit the ball pretty hard and you made contact. You were trying to do something good. It wasn't your direct failure as a player that caused you to hit into the double play. It was a mixture of bad luck and maybe not, obviously getting the correct launch angle or whatever you want to say. So that's where it gets interesting for me. I know I'm way past the way some of you probably looked at this question. You're like, why is he still talking? But I'm just going to keep it rolling. Don't worry. Stay with me. So I actually would rather you hit into a double play than you swing at ball 4 because at least your intentions were good, right? I know the path to hell was paved with good intentions, but stay with me. The strikeout looking is very frustrating, but at least you were doing something that had the chance to end up being a good thing. If you thought it was ball 4, if you thought it was outside the strike zone, maybe you got fooled on a really good breaking ball. I'm not going to value that as poorly as, and here's the other thing, you might have had an 0-2 count. If you swung at this pitch and swung and missed, you might have struck out anyway. If you made contact with this pitch, you still probably would have gotten out anyway, at least 75% of the time, right? With the average hitter hitting somewhere around 250. It's not comparable to me to swinging at ball 4 because in that instance, you had a definite positive result that you passed up completely by chasing the pitch. And then the last one, caught stealing or being picked off, yes, also very frustrating. Yes, I watch Matt Deggs' baseball team, so I have seen a lot of this season. But it is done with the idea of being aggressive in mind and trying to take something that wasn't already given to you, that extra base. So the risk-reward, whereas the guy who swung at ball 4 took a definite thing, a base, a free base, and he nullified it. The guy who tried to get to second had first, or tried to get to third, had the base, but he was trying to get a new piece of real estate that he was not previously given. So while it is a net negative, it's not as frustrating to me as the guy who swung and missed a ball 4. So that's my answer, and I think it's the right answer. James, did you stay with me throughout this conversation? Or are you still there? Is anyone not asleep?
I'm with you there for the most part.
I'm just saying it's a value proposition, and while it's the thing for me, the only one, the grounding into double play, I'll hear your argument out on that because now you have 2 things that are negative instead of 1. But I'm going to give the batter the benefit of the doubt that he tried, and he did succeed in one way, which is hitting a ball. Usually, as I said, if you hit into a double play, you usually have to hit it pretty hard. So that is actually a good thing. You just sometimes get unlucky, and it goes right to the shortstop.
Yeah, and for the most part, I was leaning towards getting caught stealing / the pickoff.
Okay.
Just because I'm like, it's already hard enough to get on base, so the fact that you take yourself off the base because you weren't paying attention.
Well, and so here's the thing. And I know they had to fit it into one answer choice, so I don't fault them. Getting picked off is actually a lot worse in my mind than getting caught stealing because and a lot of times when you get picked off, it's because you were planning to steal, so you were leaning. But if you get picked off when you weren't planning to steal, that's the absolute worst because there's nothing to gain. As I said, the risk-reward factor. If your reward factor is still 0, your reward was you still stayed at first base because you weren't going anywhere and you still got picked off, that's really bad. That's almost worse than the ball 4 thing. That could end up so that might have to factor into my next time I evaluate this situation. I think that's 5 solid minutes on this poll question. I think that'll cover it. But I'm sticking with my answer. Swinging at ball 4 is the most frustrating thing in offense to watch on a baseball field. All right, we will take a timeout. We will start hour number 2 with Zach Nagy. We'll talk LSU with him. We'll catch up on everything Lane Kiffin is doing. Of course, wonderful times. That's next here on the Lowdown.
This is Law Enforcement Week, and we are proud to salute those who protect and serve our communities every day. Powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac and Delta Media Corp., we will be out delivering cookie trays and sweet treats to local law enforcement agencies as a small thank you for a big job well done. This includes our wildlife and fisheries officers, jailers and corrections officers, probation officers, and all who serve in the law enforcement arena. To every one of you, thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your commitment. We salute you this week and every week.
Whether it's a tempting text message or a quick glance at your GPS, taking your eyes off the road for just a moment can have serious consequences. This includes turning around or reaching down. Distracted driving includes eating or putting on makeup. Distracted driving is anything that diverts your attention from driving. I'm Lorraine Luquette Vinoy with Service Chevrolet Cadillac, encouraging you to drive smart, drive safe, and keep those eyes on the road, Acadiana. This message is powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac and this radio station, where safety meets style on the road.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Karen Crow Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Cavaliers and Pistons continue their second-round NBA playoff series with a pivotal Game 5 in Detroit tonight. Teams tied at 2 games apiece. 7:30 Eastern ESPN Radio, 8 Eastern on ESPN. Home teams are 4-0 in that series. Knicks forward OG Anunoby, out the last week with a hamstring strain, returned to practice today. New York expects to have him on the floor for the Eastern Conference Finals opener versus Detroit or Cleveland, explains ESPN NBA insider Shams Charania.
There's an expectation that he will be able to play in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Barring any setbacks, there's optimism for his status for Game 1. He's been evaluated on a daily basis. The Knicks are gradually bringing him back, including him in basketball activities.
Islanders defenseman Matthew Schaefer won the Calder Memorial Trophy as the NHL's Rookie of the Year. The 18-year-old is the first unanimous choice for the award since Hall of Famer Teemu Selanne with the Winnipeg Jets 33 years ago. Avalanche can move on to the NHL's Western Conference Final with a win versus the Wild in Game 5 of their second-round series tonight.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, we'll react to the NFL schedule release, and I'll tell you which early season matchup I'm most excited about. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the Lowdown with D-Lo on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is the Lowdown, ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette, 104.1 in Lake Charles, anywhere you are with the ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app. We are broadcasting live, as always, from the Beal and Hebert studios here in Upper Lafayette. You can also check us now live on YouTube. Really excited to get that rolling officially earlier this week, so check us out there as well. A lot to get to here in the second hour. In that first hour, we talked with our friend Chris Fissaro over at the PGA Championship, talked about what the course is looking like over there. That first round's going to get going tomorrow. As we mentioned, some drama there with Rory not being able to get through his practice round yesterday. We'll see. I imagine he's still going to play and fight through it, but he might be affected at some point this week. A lot of talk about the course layout, whether the rain's going to come tonight, maybe affect things a little bit. Should be mostly clear skies for the tournament itself because I've been checking on that. But we will see. We also talk a little bit about some local headlines here in the world of sports. And now we've got a few more things to get to. We start our second hour as usual on Wednesdays with our friend Zach Nagy, our LSU insider, who joins us now. Zach, what's going on, man? It's actually somewhat of a quiet time over there, but Lane Kiffin made some noise earlier in the week.
Yeah, man. First of all, I appreciate you for having me on. As always, I love getting to talk some ball with D'Lo. And, yeah, man, we were texting earlier, kind of talking about a couple different things and just kind of hitting on, man, it's a little quiet right now in the world of LSU athletics in a way, but we know Lane Kiffin's always going to stay in headlines, and that's precisely what he's doing right now. And, you know, it's a unique time in college athletics, a lot of headlines, a lot of buzz, and Lane Kiffin appears to always be at the forefront of it, doesn't he?
No doubt, no doubt. So let's start there. And you have a unique perspective on this because, you know, you did also cover Ole Miss to an extent last season, so you've seen this on both sides of it. We don't have to get into what he specifically said and why people were very offended about it, but just big picture, is it benefiting or is it more of a benefit or a detriment for LSU that Kiffin is constantly still inviting these types of things to be discussed? If that makes sense to you, you know, like... Do you think that at this point he's got enough press and pub he can just chill out a little bit, or do you go, hey, you know what? As long as people are talking about LSU, that's a good thing and it's by design. What's your take on it?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, and I think both of those perspectives are valid. I think when you look at it on one side, it's, hey, man, let's, you know, kind of stop with the antics and let's focus on football. You know, Baton Rouge is football-oriented. This program has a ton of resources built into it right now, and they're ready to compete. So, you know, some people on one side would probably say, hey, let's focus on football and let's stop with the antics. And then on the other side, of course, you know, there's always going to be buzz surrounding LSU, and it's good, bad, neutral, etc. LSU and the purple and gold in general will always be in headlines. I think a lot of people like to spin a lot of things that Lane Kiffin says and puts them a little out of pocket per se. But nonetheless, this is a situation here where, you know, Lane does what Lane wants. And getting on the, you know, the Vanity Fair thing, all this, all that, it's not going to stop. This is just the beginning of the Lane Kiffin era in Baton Rouge. And one thing that we've learned, and especially what I've learned by covering him when he was at Ole Miss as well, is that Lane's going to continue to do what he wants, and he's going to speak his mind. And I think LSU faithful is certainly getting a large dose of that during his first offseason in the Bayou State.
That's one of the things that I was thinking about with this too, and I saw some people, you know, I think there's a common theme of what people are saying right now, which is like, hey, why doesn't he win some games before he does this stuff or whatever else? But I was thinking about that, and then I thought to myself, well, at LSU, we understand, like, and we saw what happened with Brian Kelly. I mean, he won a number of games that wouldn't have got you fired a lot of different places. The expectations to win are already through the roof anyway, so I don't know if him talking a lot, he already knew he's going to have to win double-digit games and make playoff appearances every year if he wants to stay the coach at LSU. So I maybe that's why he's just not really all that bothered by it.
Hey, that's a valid perspective again as well, Dawson, and I'm going to echo the same sentiment in that the expectations in Baton Rouge are always championship or bust. When you go out and you spend $40 million+ on a roster, you go out and assemble the staff that he assembled, and you put in all these resources into the program, it's always going to be championship expectations, whether he's coached one game or whether he's coached 100 games. So, sure, he's going to continue to live on social media. He's going to continue to say what he wants because that's the flavor that Lane Kiffin is, and it's what separates him from a lot of the other coaches. Sure, would some people like to see him maybe not be on social media as much or not say as much? Sure. But I think that's what makes him such an awesome head coach and makes him such a fan favorite in Baton Rouge, is that he's always going to talk. He's always going to say what he wants. He's always going to be on social media. He's always going to be in the public eye, and it's always going to keep attention on LSU. And that's what makes it such a special situation for him. And a lot of people are saying it's a match made in heaven for a lot of different reasons, specifically because he loves the attention so much as well.
We already did talk about the close of spring football, and so I know nothing significant's changed since then. We did get some nice new headshots of Sam Leavitt and some generally positive news about his timeline, which isn't really a huge breaking thing. We were kind of expecting that, but now that the dust has settled from it all, do you have any other big picture thoughts about where this team's at after spring and headed into the fall, or is it kind of mostly what we talked about before?
Yeah, I think you're starting to see a lot of these guys begin to go and work with their personal trainers across the country. Some are in L.A., some are in Texas, some are back in the Peach State in Georgia, working out there as well. And you're starting to see them continue to get physically prepared for this upcoming season before summer workouts start. And one guy that just continues to generate buzz both on and off the field is going to be Jordan Seaton. This is a guy who signed with LSU, of course, as the number one offensive tackle in the portal. But nonetheless, he's working with that five-star work ethic as well. He's trimmed his body down from 24% body fat to 18%. He's taken off over 20 pounds to his frame. He looked fantastic during spring camp. But now that we're roughly 3-4 weeks out from spring camp, he's continuing to define his body. He's continuing to look the part there. So when I look at big picture thoughts surrounding this team, Jordan Seaton's obviously going to be a critical component to their success. Sam Leavitt is back on the field getting some action and running, as we saw on social media, etc. So big picture thoughts remain the same for me, that this is a college football playoff or bust season for this team. You have the talent, you have the coaching, and you have the work ethic in the locker room. It starts with Jordan Seaton, Sam Leavitt, Harlem Berry, true freshman Deuce Gerald's on the other side, Ty Benefield. You're loaded from a talent perspective. Now it's about getting it to click. My expectations are going to remain the same leading up until week 1 against Clemson. This is a national championship, a college football playoff caliber roster. It's time to continue to kind of push in that direction and get things clicking leading into week 1.
I do want to mention that Clemson matchup in just a minute. The last thing I want to ask you about spring and stuff, though, is just since we did see so much of the other two quarterbacks or the other two main factors that we expect at quarterback, the backups, we know that last year it felt in a lot of ways like if Nussmeier went down, they were in some trouble. And ultimately they were. They had a lot of reasons for that besides just his play. But is it better, less so, or the same on your confidence level that if Leavitt does somehow have another injury pop up or re-injures what he's been dealing with, how much of a shot do you give this team to pivot with their next two options?
Yeah, Dawson, I think that's an awesome question. I think that's one that if you would have asked me maybe 3.5 weeks into spring camp, I would have said, yeah, this team's in some trouble if Sam Leavitt goes down. Hassan Longstreet and Landon Clark are both exceptional quarterbacks, but nonetheless, I think that they would have been in a pretty tough spot if Sam Leavitt were to get hurt. Now, you ask me that question, and I think Hassan Longstreet has really taken that next step and began to look the part down the stretch of spring camp. A lot of buzz leading into the remainder of off-season as well, too. So, this is a former 5-star guy, a USC transfer. He's got that caliber under his belt, and he's beginning to look the part with Dane Stevens as the quarterback's coach, Lane Kiffin coaching him up, Charlie Weiss. So all that being said, I wouldn't hit the panic button if something were to happen to Sam Leavitt. Of course, we don't want to put that into the universe. But, again, hypothetically speaking, if something did happen, Hassan Longstreet is very capable of being a game manager for this team and handling the work ethic there. Been really impressed with his progression across the first offseason in Baton Rouge.
And it is an interesting concept because, we talk about this in NFL terms when a player's under contract and if you lose your quarterback, you talk about a lost season and what you've, got invested in the rest of the roster. Texas Tech's having the same issue right now, and it's far more dire, it looks like, than what LSU's is because Sorsby may be ineligible. But it's like, man, wait, we spent how many million on the rest of this roster? We got to have a plan in case somebody goes down, I think it's so much... before, if you lost him, you go, hey, all right, well, we'll be back next year. We'll bring it back. You go, no, we got this much invested. We can't just say the season's over if we lose a key player or two.
Yeah, that perspective is right on the money, and one that I've just continued to think about more and more as we see these roster values go up year in and year out. We're talking about a $40 million+ roster right now, Dawson. We're talking about a quarterback in Sam Levitt that they've invested millions on millions on millions into. I mean, you can't necessarily have lost seasons anymore when you're talking about NIL, when you're talking about a donor base, when you're talking about collectives. It's pretty much all in just about every single year. So if a player does go down, you have to have backup plans. And that's exactly what Lane Kiffin did in the portal by going and getting guys to provide depth pieces, guys that have multiple years of eligibility, primarily at the quarterback position, where if something does happen to Sam Levitt, you have an insurance policy behind you in Hassan Longstreet, a top 10 transfer quarterback, a former 5-star, Landon Clark, a top 100 transfer quarterback, an All-American at Elon. So he's pushing all of his chips into the middle. Of course, when you talk about the financial investments that they've made, there's nothing short of a ridiculous amount of money poured into this roster. But to your point, Dawson, you're right on the money when you talk about having to have other pieces behind your true stars as well.
I mentioned I wanted to talk a little bit about the LSU Clemson thing. I actually caught some Dabo Sweeney on a podcast recently and was listening to him talk about it all. He's got obviously a very unique perspective. He and Kiffin, they have a lot in common. I think they have a lot not in common as well, but it is an interesting collision between them two to start the year. We got the word that College Game Day is officially going to be in Baton Rouge for that one. It's pretty much the marquee matchup of the week. And I got a real big feeling that College Game Day might be interested in heading to Oxford a few weeks after that. So as we said, with Kiffin comes the attention. This can be some marquee matchups for this team right off the bat. They're not going to have time to ease into the season the way maybe sometimes you do if you play an FCS game early.
Absolutely, Dawson. I mean, one of the reasons why Lane Kiffin wanted to come to Baton Rouge was, of course, to be in the spotlight. It's no secret that during his time at Ole Miss, there were a lot of complaints from him and the other coaches that, hey, we don't have enough night games here in Oxford. You know, we want the atmosphere to be here. We want the energy. We want College Game Day, this, that, and the other. And it just didn't happen as often as he would have liked. Well, now, you know, you're working with the brand. You're working with LSU, a primary brand in the sport where you're going to have College Game Day, of course, week 1. That LSU Ole Miss game, I mean, we could sit back and say that'll be a College Game Day as well, right? I mean, it's pretty, it should be set in stone. So, you know, you're going to have multiple College Game Day appearances with Lane Kiffin at the helm, paired with LSU. It's why he came here, and it's one of the reasons why the future of LSU is so promising with him at the helm, with just so much buzz surrounding this program right now.
We'll close it, Zach. It was pretty much what we feared it could be at Georgia for Jay Johnson and the baseball team last week. They'll come home to finish the regular season against Florida, and then they'll head to Hoover, and we'll see if they can put something together there. But it does seem like this is going to be the first regional postseason without LSU in it in more than a decade. At the same time, it's Jay Johnson, and they've won 2 of the last 3 titles. So I do find it like you have to say something at the end of the year. You have to talk about what went wrong, but also I also find a lot of the conversation about is anything going wrong here? I mean, no, they swung and missed this year, and I'm sure they're going to be back next year with a even more loaded up roster. And he's already talked about the NIL stuff maybe coming through for them a little bit more. We'll see what LSU does revenue sharing wise, but I don't know. I don't know if there's a whole lot left to say about this LSU baseball team. What you got?
Yeah, I think when you talk about this year, I'm never going to sit back and say that anything was an utter failure or anything like that. Sure, you know, you're likely, probably not in the postseason. And, you know, when you have such a strong nucleus of young players, you're going to be in a good spot for the future. And it gave you the chance to build and utilize those building blocks for the 2027 season. So there is some winning in that aspect. But like you alluded to right there before, you swung and missed on a lot of portal guys. Of course, you went all the way in Omaha, and you didn't necessarily have the chance to recruit at an elite level in the transfer portal because you were playing. And it came and kind of hurt them a little bit, of course. So when you talk about that aspect, when you talk about the NIL piece and all of this, that, and the other, it wasn't necessarily a recipe for failure in 2026, but it definitely puts you in a tough spot. So it's been a challenging year for Jay Johnson and this coaching staff and the program as a whole, but you have a ton of building blocks to work for next year. Going into the offseason, it's about, of course, crushing the portal, but roster retention is going to be key with so many youngsters. The future of LSU baseball is, of course, always going to be bright with a mastermind like Jay Johnson leading this program.
Zach, appreciate your time as always, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. You have a good week.
That's Zach Nagy talking LSU athletics with us here on a Wednesday edition of the show. We will go ahead. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, We'll switch gears a little bit. We'll talk, I guess, I don't know if we're going to have any other leaks about the NFL schedule until the actual announcement, but we'll at least discuss where the Saints are at. I'll remind you of who their opponents are. We know the opponents. We're just waiting on the order and all that stuff. So we'll talk about that briefly after the break. We've got Chaston coming up in about 15 minutes. It's the Lowdown.
This is the Lowdown with D'Lo, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Make sure to set your alarm and tune in Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock for Sports Shorts here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Join me, Ronnie Rance, and the Sports Shorts team of Tommy Christsan, Hunter McCann, and the crazy man, Joel Davis, as we break down the sports and teams that you love. The LSU Tigers, New Orleans Saints, and everything in between. Tune in Saturday mornings from 10 to noon for Sports Shorts here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Where there's smoke, there could be an electrical fire. Up next, from Mr. Electric. You know, every 18 minutes, an electrical fire strikes one U.S. home. Here are a few things to keep yours from being the next victim. First, inspect cords every month. Replace the frayed and the cracked ones right away. Never overload outlets or daisy-chain power strips. Also, keep cords away from rugs, heat, and water, and use GFCI outlets in kitchens and baths. They'll trip fast and stop shocks.
If you would like to learn more, visit MrElectric.com.
So you think you may have electric problems, but you just don't know what to do next. Here's Sean Doré with Mr. Electric.
So one of the benefits that you have with Mr. Electric is our home safety check. Checking electrical components in your home, you can actually prepare for any future hazards that could come. We try to expose those things.
For your free safety check, call Mr. Electric today or see us on Facebook.
Misfits Dine and Drink, a destination restaurant in Broussard, is constantly evolving. Dine in for great food and a great atmosphere. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or brunch on Saturday or Sunday, stop in to enjoy a handmade gourmet pizza or one of their delicious pastas. Take a sip of their new and seasonal craft cocktails and mocktails. And don't forget dessert. Try the birthday cake bread pudding. Whether it's new menu items or old favorites, come to Misfits for a great food experience. It's classic Italian with a modern twist. Misfits Dine and Drink, 200 Heritage Parkway off Highway 90 in Broussard.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code TALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank.
You're listening to the 2026 LAB Award winner for Radio Young Professional of the Year, Dawson Isolo, the host of The Lowdown with D'Lo on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
All right, we're back here on the Lowdown. By the way, shout out to the YouTube audience. Been seeing some comments on there. We hear you. LC, shout out to him, who's been in there both days. Our guy Todd wants more hockey talk, which I'll tell you, I'll try. I don't know if you want me breaking down hockey, though, because you know it's not going to be, if you know hockey and you hear me trying to break it down, you're going to understand that it's not my thing, you know what I mean? But I do like the sport. I mean, I was all in for the Olympics. Those were awesome. We talked about that a lot at the time. So, I mean, look, we're going to get to Stanley Cup soon enough, so maybe that'll come to be. By the way, just because I've been giving updates on it every day, and I didn't do it to open the show today because we had the Astros to talk about, the Spurs just absolutely obliterated the Wolves last night. They got Wemby back, and he was unbelievable, 27-17 for him. They won that game by 29. They are one win away from closing it out. I do expect Minnesota to be feisty, though, on their home court, but that one wasn't super close. Ant didn't have a great game, and they're now facing elimination. So we'll see what happens there. And then tonight, Cavs-Pistons game 5, Detroit at home, but only 4.5-point favorites over Cleveland. We'll see if they can get things going in the right direction as well. Other good news, squeeze play is coming back this week. I said it we had a whole conversation. Regional weekend in baseball is one of my favorite weekends of the year. Squeeze play is an incredible presentation that ESPN puts on where they bounce around all the games, right? We're like, why don't we have this for the regular season? Well, they're doing it for the regular season. They're doing it this week. They're doing it on Friday, so that is awesome. Or maybe it's Saturday. I probably should get that right. It's Friday night. It's Friday night they're doing squeeze play, so that is sick. I don't know how much of it I'll get to watch on Friday night, but I might have a chance to throw it on, so that'll be pretty cool. Yes, let's see. It's Thursday. It's not Friday. Even better. It's tomorrow. They will have they've got 9 games featured, which they don't list UL and Coastal in there, but I imagine that they'll flip over to that one if necessary at a certain point, because that's a pretty big series as well. Last thing before I get to some Saints schedule stuff. The Southern Miss promotional schedule came out. Southern Miss football has officially selected the Louisiana Raging Cajuns for homecoming, which I always think back to the video. It was part of one of the culture videos that my friend Doug Domingue put together back in the day where Billy Napier said, "Gentlemen, congratulations, you've been selected for homecoming." That reigns in my head every time I see the word homecoming ever. So, yeah, homecoming for Southern Miss is when the Cajuns come to town. That should be interesting. Oh, all right. We've got a caller on the Mike's Marine Hotline. FedEx Man's got something college baseball related. This is the perfect time to get that in. So what's going on, my friend?
How's it going there, buddy?
It's going well.
All right, let's go back to the Cajuns, and I think their chances going into this weekend.
Okay.
If they win 2 out of 3, I think they just make sure they don't stub there till the first game, and they'll be all right. And they will be a top 6 seed if they win 2 out of 3, so you won't have to worry about playing a play-in game. And then if you get in as a 6 seed, you are probably going to be playing a 3 seed, maybe probably be up again or about that territory, so it's not going to be that RPI loss, even if you lose that game.
Right.
Now, if you win 1, I still think you're going to end up being a top 6 seed because the teams chasing you both have tiebreakers on. Is that correct?
Well, not exactly. So the problem is they don't have the tiebreaker on Arkansas. Well, they have it on Arkansas State, but they don't have it on Troy, who's right in front of them. They don't have it on. Let me pull up the standings right here so I can give you an accurate assessment of this. I remember thinking it was a mixed bag. Right. They don't have it on Texas State, who's 1 game behind them. And then they didn't play ODU or Marshall. So that becomes a bit of a problem if Texas State ends up catching you and tying you. If it's a straight-up head-to-head tiebreaker, you're obviously going to lose that one.
Obviously.
And they don't have it on Troy, who's 1 game in front of them. They do have it on South Alabama, who's 1 game in front of them, but not on Troy.
Right. I'm just kind of worried about the backside, in case they only win 1 against Coastal. But, look, I really, my feelings, I think they're going to take 2 out of 3 this weekend. I really do. This team is playing well enough, and Coastal's playing not well enough like them. I mean, I think it's right for the taking.
Yeah.
And what's his boy? Fluky? He's not fluky right now. He's not even close to fluky. And they're going to try to keep on giving him innings. They might just force that issue and say, look, man, we need to push him. We need to put him out, get us some innings, even though the results are not that good. It's like a rehab game almost in their eyes. Maybe we need to get some innings under him. So that would be good for us on that case in whatever game he pitches. And I know they're playing for a host. But right now, they're definitely standing out in the whole situation. I think Southern Miss has a way better chance of hosting them. So, just to say we beat them that first game, they might just understand and say, hey, man, we are probably playing this better for a high number 2 seed.
I hear what you're saying. I appreciate the call, FedEx Man. I'm gonna get to this Saints schedule stuff in a minute, but I will conclude the conversation by saying I am still scared, though, that Fluky's going to figure it out. And I talked with Sam, who covers the program. They said coaching-wise, they're not worried about it. The numbers, like the velo, everything's where they want it to be. He's just had a couple bad outings. I am worried, especially if they throw him in the last game of the series on Saturday, where you're potentially trying to bullpen or piece it together. And Ty Roman was good last week, so maybe you get another good Roman outing. But if they all of a sudden find something with Flukie and it's a rubber match and it's the last game of the series, you could be in some trouble in the latter half of that game. But hey, let's see if we get to that point. And I'm with you mostly on what you said about winning 2 out of 3 and where you'll have to be. Texas State, by the way, got boat raced by UTSA last night. Now, it wasn't a bad RPI loss for them because UTSA is pretty good, but they got steamrolled, and that may be, as I mentioned before, my biggest fear is being compared directly to Texas State in the at-large conversation. If the Bobcats have a really bad weekend this weekend, maybe you distance yourselves from them and don't have to worry about that part of it. Okay, before we get to a break, we have Chasten and Talk McNeese on the other side. I wanted to give you the Saints opponents one more time, in case you forgot. We're going to find out the schedule tomorrow. We know one thing. Sunday, October 25th, New Orleans Saints, Pittsburgh Steelers, Stade de France in Paris, France. My Spanish accent's much better than my French accent. I don't have much for you on that side of things. But if you're getting your flights and stuff together, I know some Saints fans who already told me, they're like, oh, we're going, like no doubt. And I was like, I don't know if I'm pulling that one off over in Paris. But it should be an awesome trip for those of you who make it happen. That's going to be an 8:30 Central kickoff, obviously in the morning because of the time difference in Europe. The Saints' other opponents, of course, they travel to Atlanta, Carolina, and Tampa. We knew that. Their other road opponents, they're at Baltimore, at Chicago, at Cincinnati, at Detroit, at the Giants. Those are their road opponents the rest of the way. So, look, just based off last year, I expect Chicago to be pretty good again. I expect Baltimore to be really good again. I expect Detroit to be really good again. I don't know quite what to think about Cincinnati and their whole situation. The Giants, they could be fine, but we'll see. It's not a bunch of layup games, but anyway. At home, though, this is where there's some really gettable home games for the Saints. In addition to, of course, they play Atlanta, Carolina, and Tampa at home. The Pittsburgh game's technically a home game, albeit in France. Green Bay, Minnesota, Las Vegas, Arizona, and Cleveland are your other home games. Las Vegas, I don't think it's going to be very good. I think they're going to be playing with a rookie quarterback. Arizona, I'm not convinced either, although I wouldn't enjoy having to try to tackle Jeremiah Love. I'm sure that's going to be a fun experience. Cleveland, I don't think is going to be a great football team as of now. Minnesota, I'm not sure about. What are they going to do at quarterback, right? And then Green Bay, I think, will be pretty good, and we'll see about the rest of these teams. But it is very interesting. And even Pittsburgh, right? I mean, if they don't sign Rodgers back, what are they going to do at quarterback? Let's see when and where. But we have an idea of what the Saints' schedule is going to look like. We'll know for sure by tomorrow. Let's take a timeout now. Chasten Tavares, we're going to talk little Southland, little McNeese Cowboys, and let's have a little ranting session about how bad the Astros and Red Sox are. We'll do that with our friend Chasten, Gator 99.5 on the other side of the break. It's a Wednesday edition of The Lowdown.
This is The Lowdown with D-Lo, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Seattle Mariners crushed the Houston Astros last night, 10-2 to hand the Stros their 4th straight loss. Tetsuya Imai was a victim of the long ball last night, giving up a 2-run homer and a grand slam through only 4 innings of work. The Astros and the Mariners will go again today for Game 3 in Houston, and it'll be Bryce Miller versus Lance McCullers Jr. on the mound. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m., and you can listen to it on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Around the AL West, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Los Angeles Angels 3-2. The Texas Rangers beat the Diamondbacks 7-4, and the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Athletics 6-4. With those results, the Athletics still sit in first place, with now the Mariners only 1 game behind in second, and Houston still 6 games back in last place. Last night in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs dismantled the Minnesota Timberwolves 126-97 to take a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference semifinals. Victor Wembanyama had a huge night, putting up 27 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now the series will head back to Minnesota on Friday night in an elimination game for the Timberwolves. Then tonight in the Motor City, the Detroit Pistons will host the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The series is all tied up at 2 apiece. Tip-off between Cleveland and Detroit is at 7 p.m. tonight from the Little Caesars Arena. And it was announced yesterday that College Game Day will be heading to Baton Rouge for LSU's season opener against the Clemson Tigers. Kickoff will be on September 5th at 6:30 p.m. in Death Valley. I'm Blake Persher, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Bryson Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Bryson Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are in Lafayette, and we have offices statewide. Or visit BrysonLawFirm.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Bryson Law Firm. LSBA filing number LA2518447.
Every weeknight, MeTV has your laugh therapy.
To chase away the blues or the olive drabs.
With 2 hours of MASH at 5.
This guy's ankle has tickled my funny bone.
Followed by the Andy Griffith Show at 7.
Doggone it, Otis. You're supposed to be hugging me when I'm arresting you. But he likes you, Barney.
Weeknights on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit GoVote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
Can't get enough discussion about the college programs you know and love? Not to worry. Dawson has you covered coming up right here on The Lowdown with D-Lo.
We welcome you back into The Lowdown. It is a Wednesday edition of the show. Usually, we are joined by Chasten Tavares, Gator 99.5, of course, also part of the ESPN Plus broadcast for McNeese. We're usually joined by him on Fridays, but I'm not going to be here on Friday, so we moved it up, and we've also got a lot of stuff to preview because McNeese softball is in the NCAA Regionals, McNeese baseball is in the Southland Conference Tournament, so a lot to talk about. Chasten, how goes it, man?
It's a busy week. There's that, there's softball, there's baseball, there's also, where I'm at, we're doing high school baseball state tournament. It's a crazy week, but hey, the good news is it's starting to wind down. And I'm thankful for that.
No doubt. All right, man, let's start with softball. So McNeese pulls it out, a dramatic series for sure. It took, a lot to get through it in a best of 3 at home, but they beat Lamar. They are headed back to regionals first time in 3 years. As it turns out, and I was looking at it too, and I was like, man, it could be LSU, but I actually didn't think LSU was going to get a host spot. So I was looking at the other options. As it turns out, LSU does get a host spot, but McNeese gets sent to A&M instead. So, not the top seed in the tournament. Like, this is not one of those deals where you get sent to the number 1 Oklahoma team and you feel like you're playing for second in this regional. What do you make of the draw and what they've got in front of them?
It's a fascinating draw, but on the other hand, it's a brutal draw. I'm with you. I thought they were going to Baton Rouge. I think a lot of us thought they were going to Baton Rouge just because the last couple of times, when you think back to 2023, they send them, all the way to, Washington, where they thought they were going to have one there.
And they should have won it.
They should have won it. That's for certain. They kind of got that monkey off their back by getting back this year. But look, I think we all thought they were going to Baton Rouge. But look, they go to College Station. As the show got longer, it was like, all right, College Station will likely be a host. Could it be Baton Rouge? Those were the last two. I figured one of the two Southland teams would go to Baton Rouge. I didn't expect neither of them to go, but instead, look, they're going to go to the Texas A&M regional, and they're going to get an Arizona State team who obviously just beat, your old buddy Jerry Glasgow in the Big 12 tournament. Look, they have a chance to really make a run at things. Does Arizona State? McNeese kind of catches everybody you play at this point is a good team. They've either won their conference or they've gotten an at-large bid, rightfully so. And look, it's going to be a tall task for McNeese, but look, they're going to be able to swing it. They're going to be able to score runs. I do think it all comes down to pitching and what they can get in the circle. Because look, Maddie Taylor, she had her bumps early on in the year. Look, she pitched really well the last couple of weekends. Brooklyn Taylor, I'm going to be honest with you, the stage looked a little bit too big for her in Game 2 of the Southland Conference Tournament Championship Series. And look, that's kind of to be expected with you're throwing a freshman into the fire, but it looked a little bit too big for her. But I think they're going to be able to swing it from there. Pitching, the pitching's going to have to just kind of keep them in it, I guess. But it is a little bit of a tough draw. McNeese is obviously very familiar with Texas A&M, that College Station. They went there this year. They got drummed, and then after that, they went on a 17-3 run to finish out the regular season. So they've kind of turned things around. Not the same team that went to Texas A&M and got their doors blown off there in College Station, but it'll certainly be an interesting one. Look, offensively, I'd already mentioned Maddie Taylor, but it was like Jada Munoz was incredible. She hit 2 of the biggest homers she'll hit in her career. In that Southland Conference Championship Series, Cassidy Chance was batting like 800 in the conference tournament, and it just continues to go down the line. Nyjah Fontenot had had a big homer. Maddie Weeks obviously had the walk off. She hit a big homer in Game 3. So all around effort, but it's going to take a big time effort if they want to pull off a couple of wins. But if there's any group that could do it, it'd probably be that one.
Interesting as well to note, you talk about Arizona State, who is McNeese's first opponent in this tournament. They got swept by Texas Tech 2 weeks ago and then met them back up in the Big 12 title game and zipped, 4-0. It wasn't even all that competitive. So they clearly found something, and we'll see how that looks. Are you the only one? Look, I've been talking about this with everybody who will listen to me. Why in the world? So they decide, all right, we're going to seed 1 through 32. I go, hey, that's great. That's going to make it a little more fair. We're going to start balancing it out. Some of the really good 2 seeds will have to go to the poorer 1 seeds and stuff. Why did they put 1 through 8 seeds 8 times on this bracket instead of just seeding it out the way they've always done?
I'm still confused on the way they did it. They didn't make a whole lot of. I was very. First off, that was the worst. And I know that's a company, that's a parent company, whatever. But that was some of the worst production I've ever seen on a selection show. It was. I mean, look, There was one time they're showing us the graphics, then all of a sudden they show us a completely different bracket graphic to debut a bracket. And I was like, what are we doing here? It was, I knew, I won't go into my next thought, but look, it was certainly fascinating. It was very confusing. I hope they change that for baseball, even though we won't have much to root for around here. I don't know for the baseball tournament, but it'll certainly be interesting. They gotta make that a little bit easier on the eyes.
And the NCAA backed it, too, because their bracket still shows it. So, like, A&M is a 4 and Arizona State's a 5. I guess it was like they seeded each Oklahoma City spot 1 through 8.
Well, and they also, they clarified it. They were like, they're the 1 seed in this bracket. They're not the 1 seed. And I was like, what?
Just tell us what seed they are in the tournament, because we all – I guess they try to make it a little bit like basketball also, but, we've all clearly – been conditioned to understand the basketball seeding. So
but then just make it like basketball and give everybody a seed.
If they're going to do that. Right. Well, and basketball releases that separately and then shows on the bracket. Anyway. All right. That's enough about it. We will see. It is going to be certainly an interesting regional with McNeese trying to make some noise over there in College Station. All right. Southland Conference baseball tournament gets going tomorrow as well. You've got the Hammond bracket and the Beaumont bracket. McNeese draws Nichols. Here's another one. Question for you. Why are they seated behind Nichols if they had one more win and technically a higher winning percentage? Do we know that answer?
Look, the way this is all set out is very weird. McNeese had a chance. McNeese needed Nichols to lose one game to be able to get the 4 seed, and that's when I can get on a tangent about this for a while. Southeastern and Nichols, they had a washout. And they won because what I tell you it is Southeastern found out that they could win the conference by winning percentage, and they said, "Oh, our field is unplayable." Now, I did see a picture, and the field may have been unplayable, but there are some pretty daggum good high school stadiums or any other stadium that you can go move the game up the road to Thibodaux and finish it. I'm just saying, but regardless, McNeese had to win one. Or Nichols had to lose one in order for McNeese to get the 4 seed. It got a little wonky. I actually think it plays better for McNeese the way it kind of fell out because obviously like Northwestern State, you didn't really want to draw them after you just swept them in the first round. And I think the way this kind of sets up for McNeese, if you want me to be completely honest with you, I think they're playing some of the best baseball in the conference right now. We've talked about it. They've had their ups and downs. But they have had, even through the injuries, they've got the potential with the frontline starters that they have. Look, Cooper Golden has been really good. Eric Knoxheim has been unbelievable. He has a chance to become have the most strikeouts in a single season by a McNeese pitcher. He's been fantastic. And then, they've been able to piece it together in the game 3s here recently. You look at the teams that are in that bracket. Nichols, they took 2 or 3 from Nichols. They took 2 or 3 from Southeastern, who was the conference champion. Think about it. They should have taken 2 of 3 from Lamar, who is the 2 seed in this conference. They blow a 6-run lead in game 3 and a chance in the last 2 innings where they had a chance to take 2 of 3 from the 2 seed. So, I think you're okay. I really do. If you tell me right now that McNeese wins this bracket, I wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't.
It is, I have done the math again, 53.5% is the winning percentage for Nichols and 53.3% for McNeese. So I guess that is accurate. It was by the slimmest of margins, but you're right. And so to your point as well, I'm not saying there was some sort of big conspiracy, but Southeastern goes, hey, we'd win the title. And Nichols goes, well, we won't drop if we don't play. And they go, well, it is raining. I mean, let's figure this out, guys. What's our best course of action?
To me, it's so bogus, but whatever.
It
was raining. Just move the game to Thibodaux.
It was a bigger conversation, and it has been around college baseball because, I brought this up a few years ago, and this year it's gotten a little bit more noise because of all these cancellations. And a couple teams came out and were like, yeah, you know what? We just didn't want to play. At least they were honest about it. But there are going to have to be some regulations, man. You can't just stack the back end of your regular season schedule and then cancel the games when they're convenient for you. It just doesn't feel right.
It's a bad look, but I don't know if we're ever going to find a solution for it.
Right. Well,
think about
too, when weather is so arbitrary, what are you going to say?
Especially here.
Yeah. If there's a threat of it, you can get away with it. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes, which I like. A lot of teams around here, at least it seems like, just don't schedule games that week. They're like, we're not worried about it.
McNeese did it.
Yeah.
That's what McNeese did. They haven't played a midweek in the last 2 weeks.
LSU, UL the same way around here, not playing the last week of the season. Either way, we will see how that turns out. We've got a lot of interesting stuff that's going to come in on Selection Sunday. Who is is Southeastern going to be the deepest as far as pitching? If this tournament goes the distance, is it McNeese? I mean, is there an argument that they have the most pitching in the Hammond bracket?
I think Lamar has probably the edge in general to win this. Look, they were slated, they were projected to win the conference. I think they've got the most talent. I think it's Lamar probably that still has the upper hand and potentially winning it. But we'll see. Look, this is a weird tournament. Everybody is so even in this conference that think about last year. The 6 and the 8 seed hosted this conference tournament a year ago. The 6 and the 8 seed. It's fascinating. I've also pointed this out a couple of times. McNeese has lost to the bottom part of the Southland Conference. You win those series, and they're the number one seed. They beat the best teams in the league, and they lose to the bad ones. It's fascinating.
All right, it is time for our favorite part of the conversation. It's when Chasten and I rant about our Major League Baseball team. So I don't blame you if you didn't watch Astros and Mariners last night, but I'll fill you in on what happened. Tatsuya Imai threw for the Astros, okay? He is, obviously their top Japanese guy. They brought him in the offseason. Everybody's excited. Early in the year, he got hurt. He told everybody he couldn't eat his meals in the same spot he did in Japan, so that was messing him up. Then he said the pitch clock was messing him up. Then somebody came back and said, no, it's just a little bit of a translation issue. Like, he's not saying what you think he's saying. It's just coming across the wrong way. All right, cool. He's back. Let's get it going. Last night, in addition to him giving up 6 runs and a grand slam, that wasn't even my biggest problem. He was in the stretch with a runner on first base, and it was Josh Naylor, by the way. It was not a speedy base runner. This was not Niger Morgan back in the day running from first to second. And he was in the stretch, and Josh Naylor just took off. And it was maybe 3 or 4 seconds after he took off, and Ime is still standing there. When I was 9, the first year we did Kid Pitch, they taught us if somebody else step off, you step off and you assume the runner is going and you run at him or you make a throw to second base. Ime just let him go, and then he made his pitch with Naylor already standing on second, and it is just full-blown disaster mode. So that is my rant of the day for the Astros. I don't even need a comment from you. If you've got one, that's fine. And then I'll allow you to get what's on the Red Sox off your chest as well.
Yeah, that is wow. Yeah, it's full-blown chaos for the Astros right now. But it's the same for the Red Sox. Like, the Astros would have 2 series wins on the year, and they're against the Boston Red Sox. Like, spare me. These are like, and the worst part, like, the Astros have the worst record in the league or something like that. The Red Sox are like 2 games out of a playoff spot, which is and they're 6 games under 500. That's how pathetic the AL is, which it really aggravates me because the Red Sox will view it because we fire the whole coaching staff, they expect to hit better, and they go, oh, but we're only 2 games out of a playoff spot. Yeah, but you're 7 games under 500. Give me a break. And they're like, oh, let's buy. So that leads me to my next thing, and this one is just bizarre. So there's all of these trade rumors that should improve the Red Sox so ticket sales don't go down and Fenway Sports Group doesn't lose money and all this, blah, 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 blah. The loose rumor that has floated around over the last couple of weeks has obviously been Trevor Story to the Mets, which, my God, if the Mets would take Trevor Story off my hands, I would be the happiest human in the world right now. But the one that just fascinates me, the Red Sox have been loosely rumored to have been talking to the Angels about not a prime guy, but a 34-year-old Mike Trout. Make that one make sense for a team that can't stay healthy. I guess it helps your offense, but
he's struggling to sell tickets in Fenway. I mean, there'd be a nice boost, right? At least until he went back on the injured list for a couple of weeks. By
the way, they're 7 games under 500, and they sold out Fenway. They had their biggest crowd of the year last night. So, no, they're not struggling to sell out Fenway.
Jersey sales, I don't know. Maybe they need a boost. By the way, the Astros do have series wins against the Rockies and Guardians in addition to the Red Sox. Just wanted to throw that out there. But, yes, half of their series wins have come against Boston this year. So that is maybe not the best stat for your Sox. All right, man, we will see. We'll see how it goes. Enjoy the weekend, and it'll be a little while before we talk again. So let's see what these baseball, softball teams have for us.
Should be fascinating. Look forward to do it again. You guys have a good weekend.
That's Chasten Tavares talking McNeese and a little more. We'll take a time out. More coming up. It's a Friday edition of The Lowdown. It's not a Friday. It's a Wednesday. We'll be back.
This is The Lowdown with D-Lo. Live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local, their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer. No chemicals added, just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs offers 5 or 3-gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or single-serve bottles, and they can deliver it to your home or office. They're easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then hit the Contact Us tab or call 337-519-3563.
ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is your home for the Houston Astros.
And the Astros stun the Mariners.
Hunter Brown, Yordan Alvarez, and the rest of the Astros are looking to get back to the postseason. You can listen to every pitch, hit, and thrilling victory of the Houston Astros.
Incredible!
As Robert Ford and Steve Sparks will be on the call. Tune in this season for live Astros baseball on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3-gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563. May is Military Appreciation Month, and ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles and Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service in Carencro will be honoring our military all month long. Nolan's is locally owned and supports our military community every day. We honor and salute because freedom isn't free. May is Military Appreciation Month, and we salute you. Powered by Nolan's Lawnmower Sales and Service in Carencro and ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles.
Looking for a spotless workplace? Variety Janitorial Services is your go-to. For office cleaning to stripping and floor waxing and carpet cleaning, your commercial space will look its best. Their reputation for perfection has grown throughout the entire Acadiana community. They deliver top-notch service with a commitment to excellence. Daily, weekly, or deep cleaning, trust the experts. Visit varietyjan.com today or call 337-298-8704 for a free quote. Variety Janitorial Services. We clean, you shine.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry.
No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
You're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
All right, we resume this Wednesday edition of the show. Appreciate Chasten there. See, I was thinking it's Friday just because I had Chasten on. Whenever Chasten's on the show, it's usually Friday. So good stuff from him. Good stuff from all of our guests today. I want to thank all three of them. Chris Fissaro joining us from the PGA Championship over at Aronimink. Zach Nagy at 2 o'clock talking LSU athletics, and then Chasten just now talking all things McNeese and ranting about the Red Sox. Well, that would be pretty funny if Boston traded for Mike Trout, though. And like everybody in the major leagues, every fan base has been trying to get Mike Trout on their team for a decade now. And now we're probably at the point where no one would really want him that badly anymore. And yet now's the time. Maybe he gets traded. That'd be interesting. Trout also, look, he's one of my favorite players of all time. So like, I'm not, I loved watching him play his entire career. It is unfortunate that the Angels never put a team around him, even if they got Shohei for a stretch. But he is clearly not the player he once was. He's still having an okay year. He's hitting 255 right now. He's got 11 homers, 23 driven in, but he is a long ways away from the guy who was pretty consistently hitting 35 homers, driving in 100 runs, stealing 30 bases, and doing everything that he was doing in the outfield. Those days have come and gone for him. So we'll see how that goes and if he does get traded. Our poll question today, as I mentioned to you before, had to do here with what you hate the most watching baseball when your team's batting. I haven't changed my mind. My answer is still swinging at ball four. Not a fan when teams swing at ball four. Not a fan, certainly when you ground into a double play, but as I said, it's my tiebreaker. is that at least the end result could have been positive. When you swing and miss at ball 4, there's nothing good that could have happened. I guess you could argue drop third strike, but in this scenario, it could be a 3-0 count, could be a 3-1 count. You don't know for sure that it's 3-2. So there literally is not much good that can happen. When you hit a ball hard in the infield, A, it could find a hole, could be a base hit. B, it could get booted by the infielder. C, you could beat it out. You could make it into a fielder's choice. It's ultimately a lot of bad luck that actually leads you to the double play itself, right? So I'm not as offended by that one, but certainly neither one of them is super ideal. So as I said, we'll get a look. Look, I'm not going to be back until Monday, as I mentioned before. We'll have our friend Nick Fontenot filling on Friday. We don't have a show tomorrow because the Astros are going to wrap up a series and mercilessly let the Mariners get out of town after that. Mercifully, I should have said. I didn't use that phrase right. Meaning it hasn't gone well for the Astros to this point. So we will have a whole lot to talk about when I return, when I'm back on Monday. So there'll be a whole bunch of stuff. We'll see what the Cajuns do against Coastal. We'll see what, if LSU can finish their season out on a high note. McNeese in the conference baseball tournament in the Southland. Softball regionals, whole lot that's going to go on. So no doubt, be a jam-packed Monday edition of the show. We'll have a pretty full week next week as well. For now, though, that'll do it for me. AFR is next with Matt Moscona. You are listening to ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette, 104.1 in Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
It's May, and spring is finally here. A time of growth, renewal, and hope. And what better time to kick off Mental Health Awareness Month? Johnwell Therapeutic Services are proud to highlight May as National Mental Health Month. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. Reach out